Assalamu alaikum baringol ngali konton kale bismillah momo ben jibe ka jin tembenna on the Gagigo News Network mba fulale ko wala barka bake alben no maka nyamen ka programme wolu mi yalon kon ka wolle nati ale jang mi yalon ka be dending Gambia la ko la bimbe ka cala ko jamal mi yalon ko le be dending am Gambia la ko la bari mba fula mobe ko wala barka bake. Thank you so much surtout mol mi yalon ko wolle be subscribe kan na YouTube channel oro. Thank you so much, close to 7,000 subscribers at a very short period of time. Bafulale, thank you so much. Jala baraka baki albe subscribe kanyame ni defana man subscribe drum. Bafule fana subscribe ting YouTube channel oto. Wobe mod mako ela bakele do ko ndo me minke kan alsi na video fana like no alsasia wobe mako ela do ko to mi alon ko baki kan ni man subscribe subscription anyway is free of charge, so ni subscribe ta ibajala nim fengo fen dunta jang nim video dunta jang edita be tara mo follow kono le milia lonko wolle ba sotala, so ni subscribe ni defana mang subscribe. So be of course nga be discussion o sotala janne mi alon ko be tara dending fanal la bara bebe kala Gambia quality of course be kachala le alialo ne currently coalition kachal be kirin in the Gambia alialo ne Essa withdraw. That is the CMC coalition talks, and then Talibi later as their standard biara. Nim dabe tara kolokono mialon ko of course ba kachala jambot from Essa withdrawal, so Apex fanambe janale Apex mo another coalition ultimalon ko ito fana kachala bitakan ni science tenting da mialon ko of course UDP fango be woto le mambo woto imambo woto science tenting, so adabe kolokono mialon ko ba kachala but be lafla kachake fanang. Of course, Belaflaka Kachaki Fanang, the new chief justice Mialonko Wale appoint Idrisa Emo Fall. Ngalo ne kobe kiti dulale science bariño soso bijele mudul bijele mantra contending of course ala appointment ola Gambia puruka Asan Jalo la place ota, but dol bijele Mialonko support le ko ya londo sotole andu ngolem kuti mialonko akumara nyimbe tabe tara kolo kono mialonko mba kachala nyim program moto jang walatina nga of course Madi Jobarteh sotole human right activist solem mole mialonko hadama dia nyanto ka law of bakele andu momi alon ko lonta bakele ni nata Gambia la kola anin Gambia la fasa la Gambia banko ka mole mi alon ko to mama of course uncle Madi manjare introduction la nga of course upcoming politician mi alon ka be kandere mbake for upcoming them for is fully into politics now. Lamin Mane ka United Democratic Party let's support United Democratic Party mo party waldi mi alon ko it all them as far as records are concerned 2021 presidential election I mean and it all them the biggest opposition in the Gambia that we're going to talk about of course some of these things so ngalamin Mane finansoro janne momi alon ko of course Gambian olem andong UDP dingolem baringa Omar Malmo finansoro janne Omar fana mo multi alon ko ak United Let's Support of course Talib la nyaton ka ko Omar fana mo Gambia dingol ti mi alon ko definitely alota ku jamala ko to Gambia o manke moye kumpodi fengo fe mialon ko injustice lam kule mialon ko akaloje bakal andu moya sute je bake Gambia and be America bankole kan nyintembeng mbe Omar fanang soto la mialon ko ateka United Let's Support, so mbe Touba Marrie spekanne mialon ko afanam be tara nyim program motole honestly laftanum ka APP sobe asoro but I don't know Fombe Sotolale before program we banna because to be honest I just have to be fair nge contact very lately because mom mola no basoro nje ngamin soro no woka bararale, so amana join no program or so maybe say sort of before program we banna but maybe say sort of baliano fanang, so nganyile sort of be sa mbe min kala do be dunna program kono wolefe mba fulale ko ala barka bake ale enjoy nyame Uncle Madi mbe call start la itela laftale jandimbe dunna nyin coalition kachalo kodu mi alon ko be kere because ngalon kacha jama nyin abe kala welti but ite this new chief justice mi alon ke wale appoint but Idrissa Emo Fall ite ala appointment oje nyaade.
Okay, Baraka. So, well, follow. I am surprised. Come on, appointment kita nyameng. And tuanya ko dema idi fa mala ala ko man malom bake. But of course, very ala mo fundita. Nga lot of research ke ala court. And akata ngaji ko akata moneti malon ko. You know, lawyer conconding excellent track record lesson. And yeah, so kada ko moti malon ko definitely as a citizen ala ko nyafa bake, and I'm very proud of him coming a gamano sort of member wonya. But then na chief justice coming banko nga lual lesson luan aka silole landi main yalonko coming chief justice nyanta appoint la nyameng ana nyanta makamu sifa ben sotonna so that's why place do be ka karawla jininka do be experience jininka and kudol so that nina na chief justice la koto atambita karawni experience dronale anata kono anata kudoli tandije coming in common law issue I want nati je ngamera fana ye hilla ko asike banku do common law issue and in commonwealth me alon ko muka fo de gamba be men kono so mele constitution sa fe yo mira jele ko na chief justice anyanda kala multi men nyanta bala banku to membo ko commonwealth bari wolle ka common law law system o ka tamani walla bari fana ngamere hilla ko asike banku bije membo commonwealth and nobody has top law like chief justice bar butum fana nata kudo rando kunto ko nam banko manke commonwealth bankoti bar butum national assembly saying is wo banko coming is wo makamodi wo bankola so bebe la rin constitution kono so butum nimen nata jibe nin ko karangla karolom aning doya do ko ngamira nyo sabata to ko Mr. Edifal awo timman bar butun sila fulanya moment silang ay nyin loi do ko menke lawyer do ko menke ayake bintole yaje fu wati nangam so until nga coming nga kongo issue le statement as Edward Francis Moore Center bringa la ko kisi ngaje ko ako loi meta de wolom fo Marrie ke loyati men practice a common law country to men sida fo sanji hanas doya sanji tannim fula so fo nyini karo ke butun okay Mr. Faldo I practice tam bin dole and I practice fo wati juma so that ningo cross amanke drong a lot of internet research kele bar coming mul fran nyini ka loyal bel practice yamajan dindoni lawyer kebal and men lankinema o men lankinema ta mulma wolom ka mang practice gambe jang wati la men tada fo sanji mon sanji tanim fula yo bari US of course I practice a jele nyawnya de sabira excellent but for nga notice ala CV malon ko for nga sotong from the internet called to the bar in Wales and in England. But butung si call no to the bar, but as a manta lawyer do ko market angater coming katalo kata ko kiti bunda to ka lawyer do ko kije. So kono maje coming aneneo do ko sifa ke Angleterre. bari consultant lom lectures nyol di dulalto and so on ade lawyer do ko gas afana siata jama ke butun ni kumembe la ringonya isaje ko constitutional member ko you know fanado fo mari ke moti meo makamo soton den ngaje ko okay Mr. Falde a practice lato member America banke Commonwealth country even near USGB is a common law country law coming you know British colonial you know about our colonial traditional colonial even though it's a law system of ya fanundile fo but generally you know ningo common law buka US nul miraje but critically nime ajibe technically safu ko common law country law but among Commonwealth country from US that a Commonwealth country and constitutional amendment I remember follow all a banko nyanta kala Commonwealth country let yeah the na banko de na banko nyin National Assembly nyanta designated le ko common law country.
Okay.
So in that situation comme abelari ngonyale so kan ngaje ko dal a maw makamo so don ka appoint chief justice just ko ka but fanam maybe na nyin labanji dron buba di men jakali comme une surprise fam wolom chief justice mu bunda kumal and president sembo babulu ka tombo o manke ñu sabaku da mayna mul batani so that ni president left a more tombon na keke chief justice men sahayat akofo alan kenema banko dole ko nga mole je nga men tombon lafta kala chief justice ay nyimma ka mole so nyi dalila na lafta kala chief justice but men de jahal bombe bitilo mento Gambia government coming of State House, Ministry of Justice, among any statement wanting ka Mr. Falla appointment for what a combination more than wrong. Yo, Nina Tajibe Karadola, Bribe Satan Nabani ya nominate. Yeah, announced. So foreign affairs, yeah, president when they coin Satan Nabani nominate. Bribe Batamir nominate Funkos ICJ. Yeah, announced. Yeah, nibe minister nominate la permanent secretary ne appoint. Isa je si press Lisbon they have a government ko ibe nyimari kala minister kala kunkot. Nibe tangara tale ba asabala was Sahel company to organization to for EU lomba for ECOWAS kono lomba. Yeah, be announced. Yo nyil be mu place kumande de bari mala is kumaka tambin na chief justice. So aja kala wata mone kata na president or the minister of justice imagine ko nyum kuma tale ye o announcement fananke saje because o fanambe ko jamane jarala bare o manke abinda ko butun drong insira drong ngaje be swearing in kika ba association même bunda kuma ta nyum kol kono ye statement bondi and what statement fanande kala ko di melon ko mosa adoyande yo so I feel that Mr. Fall treat properly. Government Mr. Fall treat properly.
Okay.
I think government point in base.
All right. So thank you so much, Uncle Madi. So mbita Omar Malmo yale. Of course, Omar Mumultimi alonko ati he's in support. Of course, he's in support of this appointment. Of course, amaka several to me alonko abe welle ki kan sign. Muna na ite amira ni appointment or it's okay. Because Uncle Madi ba fokane ni nata luato anyanta terra of course Commonwealth countries like bro. But of course Mr. Falbe nundame ngwadem America Banko kanti. So ite amira muna na this appointment is okay.
All right, Malong, if I would call that support, but I often would write in response to certain commentaries that I see. Now, in light of the appointment of Chief Justice, I have the belief that and the conviction that you know, a Gambian anywhere, irrespective of the jurisdiction you are coming from, you know, in any, you know, hanibe kazamasile whatever muntole, hanibe farolokono, whatever, you know, you have equal right. Woto mo manyan na de Gambian ol tema ka ko ndula kar lebe sabate ndula kar sign na palaso lo fengere ko nyanta nala that is basically what I oppose. Now the second aspect to it is ngadolo fananje kuma kan wala min folo nyinde ko and min bija nyanta walla tala, there is no prerequisite to job to say that a resident in the Gambia should be the one in there. So momo mi yalon ko Gambia dingolo mata o ma fa andung a londo soda makamo soda ko mari afa nyaming. This is an excellent lawyer, nobody can dispute that. He has practiced, you know, with, you know, great distinction across the world. Moto dispute nola. Now, Luala Carola, in terms of Commonwealth Fenkul, to, you know, Karakiti or Kafanyamendro, Masakundale ni wale make ku, but I cannot vilify a Gambian simply because he's appointed to a particular position where the belief ko halsi da nyintwa banko kana meta foka ali kodol soro dol fonga foloko e kanyinjo kodo min fonga kana mun nyini jang. Not everybody who returns home looks for money. But of course, there are people who work in Barrow's government, many alonko, because in Tolamansa Kunda, they treat, you know, officials as kings. In America, I drive my car to work. I work in a senior managerial capacity in one of the biggest companies in the world. But a Gambia lo keta para sinule drive for dealer, a watchman dealer, a bindano dealer, a security dealer, you know, hani geofoni ba min nadia te yafo mo kalabula. So people come there because they want to see that luxury. But until Idifal is a very competent Gambian. He have the knowledge, the expertise, and the experience to serve as Chief Justice. Nimluwa sonda landa sonda loko nyinno moti mi alonko afahamo sodo londo sodo, and he's going to bring in a vast experience mi alonko from, you know, different parts of the world. You know, every person who loves your country, irrespective of what time you return home, but returning home to serve your country in any, you know, capacity is an important undertaking.
Okay.
So every Gambian, anywhere you are, with the competence, Barabuto ni lua sonta la barakana ke kutimi anga do ko, you know, no nyinata purkana retirement ole nyinija bara lua ko nima sanji lulu ke jeto osoto nola. So we cannot be vilifying people, you know, without any basis, because some people that I see commenting on the matter, specifically I saw Nanama constantly on him, another coding in ole jamba nima sanji lulu ke jeto kodisodal. Barabuto hana atara biyenda la taja, I might be 30 years old and you make me Chief Justice after 5 years ni mbondi jana drambe sabat Gambia. Lua min foyale ibo kodo be ibenda jola wala ho janimbe fala. So in my view, I think, you know, he's a competent person. No one should vilify this person. If there is anything that the government did not do right, we definitely got to point our hands to the government. And of course, make sure that the government does the right thing, because nyinno masakunda remi yalon ko ibuka tama nintilo nintonyala. Yinla ka auditor general bondika diate nyami sina modo fena kedundi jatara anil lual montaje. So I think, you know, what is happening with the bar association and all of that, it's good they go through the, you know, right processes and procedures and let them follow the law. Lua mean for dronga bara nuwala, but in Tolmini alonko we are public commentators. Anything we say cannot be based on mere opinions. They must be based on facts, logic, and common sense. So, you know, that has been my argument on the matter. I don't know Edie, like Madi, I read about him. I think he's a phenomenal person. I think he has got a lot of experience, and I think he can contribute to, you know, our justice, you know, delivery system, which I think for the most part, until Miroto Dala, Amantara Sila Kende Kambarabutung, you know, Lua Fana for the Pongabara no Luala, Luanta Yafan and Tasona Wala Bangkoka. So that is my addition to that, you know. For the most part, I'm not really supporting this as an individual because I don't support individuals. But I'm trying to tell people, but don't, you know, be very negative about a person simply because either you have a feeling go no nyimanya na nyingala wala ntolle mimba sabati ringa ntolle nyanta asorola mol min be nyimbango ka wala meda do kola in the system, they should have it. No. This is nobody's birthright. It's not GRA.
Okay.
This is judicial.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Omar. So ngela point jele. Itela fenko manke luala karolati. Ite molbe min fokan coming in abino America man fenke so atara Gambia eduko diala. So ite, you know, you are not in support of that. and then you believe ko momo be dawada isi do ko sotono Gambia. Natange understand. So Essa Njie fanam bijane mi alon ko is a political science lecturer. Na politician or ngala Omar fanam politician all the same, but mina gael kane. Essa ite ning Chief Justice la appointment ite aje nyadila.
Bo baraka bake ibe hekatula do na video on nola.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Nga la moy Madi la nga la moy Omar la. Nga mira bidia skeno la politique kachabe manile bule because mbeni nyin kachabe fanula le. Because nga Omar la moy le, and I'm going to vehemently disagree with him because I feel like I kuma jamalel for melialon ko they are self-contradictory. Omar namole bari bi yombe du na ñolal de ha be
alkana du ñolal la mo
du na ñolal because mengera janin ka proceed Omar la fe ñinin kala kukilin na la eko luwala ñata tamala luwa men fa ñata tamala wala ite ya constitution o ya jele Gambia la constitution o 1997 itela kabidi constitution o read ay muna for chief justice la appointment court ko ñina mu luwati membe appoint la chief justice la anyanta ñina kela wo senate te male bang as a Gambian citizen farmer senema la fe ñinin kala la nga proceed just 1 minute.
Okay, 1 minute. Eko fast Senator Mala. But Butu ita sa phone ko idifal where he practiced law and where he did not. What is practice of law to you? Because if he was called to the bar in the United Kingdom, do you know if he's doing some legal, matters or related to legal affairs in the United Kingdom? Or what is practice of the law to you?
Omar. Answer question. Constitutional provision that deals with the qualification for the appointment of Chief Justice. A Senate bang ko idifal any qualification of the farmer mit a Senate ma farmer senema. I'm just asking a simple question.
Aman senema where he practiced law,
Okay, wait a minute. This is somebody. Okay, Saila Moidorong. Nimu fenete me alonko. Momo Yalonko, you are concerned about the appointment of a public official. And dung amaria doku welke damal qualification of membet will be a reveal. And then you idifal, I doku ke dawda abe reveal tale. Through nga menje ala CV ala experience hani meli Yalonko yala appointment of support. Even though ma support silo kang memu constitution oti, but the kafala ko ay nyinkejen. Nkana nyo timil tamal mbe alo ne memu toñate Omar. If on la slogan neng toñane tilingo wala nyanta sabat la wala nyanta tamala. Okay? Idi fali do ko ke dawada o man tar Gambien de kumpato. It is clear to everyone. Because nkana nyo batandi ko do wala. Now, this man practice in the UK kafande ko fote alon ne fote ma long. Idi fal anim melialon ko bala appointment of support ka wala nyanta ka senandi mol mahani de nyinde ay nyin qualification of mitle because a ketene what a constitutional requirement or like boxol nyin tikle simple but wo man fintina molie men lo wala mu ko comme Gambia ba association men finti clearly ko nyin ay do ko ka America banko le kam a practice ta jele now Gambia government could rely on ko well technically comme Madi afanyameng America is a common law country, but America is not part of the Commonwealth. And until the constitution clearly defined as a common law country, I call it a member of the Commonwealth or a country comme Madi afanyame that is designated by the National Assembly through an act. Ko nimu common law country let America mantaro kono. You understand? So itala argument mente ko melka for 2 years I retirement benefit. Fine, you could disagree with those people, right? But mamida wanyanta keletela point of concern tite Omar ntolimeto lo menna wolem ka injustice fight wolem kalo tilingon in tonyala, and that has been your slogan ngelo wala woto nimbi kumen nata me ya lonko. It's a clear violation of the constitution. Coming yes Auditor General by nyame luwa tinya nyameng ye Ousainou Bobb arrest nyame luwa tinya nyameng, and you oppose all those, including all other illegal and unconstitutional moves by the government. Bika sika fongolo ko ngajibe ni luwa be memfolawto. Omar, this is very clear to you. This is like A, B, and C. ni loi tinya data fangal nako nyin loi nyine foko
esa maso la wala
Chief Justice nyanta nyin qualification la sotola Omar wobe senyarin constitution bi kasi ka fo molio ko ngaji be loi men fo loi men fo ronte tammi no
listen to me
e ko loi men fo
Lamoy,
ngatamola ban loi men fo Omar ni manke opinion kute this is a matter of fact
so you are relying on what you see on the internet about where this edifal practice law. Is that what you're telling me? That I should rely on what the bar association and edifal appointment challenge in the courts, isn't it? So you want me to jump before the court? Or I should say that edifal, of course, you did not practice in a common law country, which I do not know. Because I saw on this man's document, he did one of his bar at in the United Kingdom. Now, the practice of law, and that is not clear to me. Is it that you have to be in court in London for you to be a practitioner? Or is it possible that he is resident in America and still practicing doing files for people in the United Kingdom? Is it possible? If all of that is not possible, that is going to be determined by the court, not me.
Omar,
but what I am in support of, I think he's a competent Gambian, but that does not mean that
nobody is doubting his competence. Nobody is doubting his competence.
So what is your disagreement with me? What is your disagreement? Because I did not disagree with
you. Omar Lamoy, eko nte menge internet of phone lata walla Lamoy. Eko nga internet nga menge in the phone lata walla. Omar, ita sita jenne. Ismaila la qualification ya bondi internet holto. Fema la walla ya menje internet ma la walla eko Ismaila nyini nyina kara man political science kara ima bondi
Ismaila la dissertation na kwa la university la domoro. That is research. In a university me ya publish me a degree dia.
Omar sa nyina qualification
how do you bring those two together?
No but Jumande no it is fan la
qualification. And besides Ismaila I work in the same university.
No wait nko
Alamu
internet we lafta doubt la ko because nde menje internet on de laf la we eta mal la wala ba ye menje fo mal la e mal la
nka mem foy what I saw in the internet is includes that depends on me what I believe. Do you want to tell me that everything you see in the internet you believe it? You cannot ask me a yes or no question. In context, with your example, Ismail Alafenko, I did not see it on the internet because I work in the same institution, as well as I've seen it what university, of course, that is internet, but university in a profile, and as well, university me a degree in post. So I did not see any of this man's degree posted by any university.
Listen.
I did not.
Okay, I will like. Okay, sir, Omar Batuna Pareda, you respond here. I'll give you.
Okay, go ahead.
And then after live we can talk.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Na Ismail la kodi la as an example. But Omar ye fenja mari ye internet roto.
Okay.
Me alon ko ila tala. You understand it because yalla na ko ni boda credible sources level. Now, idifal na ko nimbi mon na ko idifal man practice man qualified based on this and this and that. Based on what is available, the information available. The honest lies on idifal and the Gambia government meli yalan ko luwanta yake luwatinyake puru ka finnan ka ko hani al kam mem foni silo manta. You don't even have to wait to go to the court for that. No, idifal igin kala qualified based on X, Y, and Z. This is simple.
But Essa, that is what is going on. The Bar Association wrote to either the Judicial Council, and the Judicial Council would have responded. And now, if they are not satisfied with the government, they are going to court. Wale atin na Bangkok katabi ni luwa. Kabirin nga lang ko usyan boy damang police pa. Fondara abon ni police.
Okay, sir Omar, me time delay la abula boy ni then you respond here.
Buba ela moy. Constitution o memfo. Omar ko men gam fa ko Gambien nyanda tamala tilingon in tonyalla. Omar kat lola fala wato wati. And I support you for
that. Exactly. I don't want to for that.
Ani la moy doron. Ngam mem fo wole muko. Bi momentary you see the constitution is very clear. Qualifications to the appointment of the Chief Justice. I mean unequivocal terms, unambiguous criteria settle. Munni muna nyanta itina mo nyanta appoint as Chief Justice. Now, if the available information before the public wale muko nyinde aido ko ke nyindula kar leto amanyin qualification on mid based on XYZ that is clear to you they men sort of before you right now. Omar, you can even rely on that and say based on what is available nyimman qualification on nyimmi unless and until otherwise Fenna the main kaitan du ko hanide. Your qualification on your middle based on XYZ. As somebody te me along ko ilata men na wolem Gambian and Tamala Tonya in Tinwalakan. And in constitutional kan. As a defender of the constitution, this should be your stand unless proven otherwise or until proven otherwise. Listen, not a minute I can do ko. I need you qualified based on this. Okay. But based on what is available now, this guy is qualified. But based on what is available right now, to let me sort of Gambian all. Wole mo ko ni man qualification on meet among criteria ni meet. It from Cambring Gambia government, from Cambia for Gambia government, Tilimbalia, and Interpolea Katama wala. Kabira from your long. Italy nyanta kela mo follow to member lola afoko hani ni member ke alinyanta ka finti nan clearly ali atandi mola idi fali nyim qualification o mitno nyadile nalma senendi moluma then we will go by the belief ko among qualified and until proven otherwise we're going to stand by that because we want to defend the constitution to the latter. So make Gambia la ko bala fa warandi buba. I must say this buba Gambia to mampare. Nkanim fond dal la rule of law, respect for the constitution, defense of the constitution, but in Tolomon pare. B, nin kuyeta affect. The government is bad, the state is bad. But now may affect you don't care anymore. For me to hear Omar, me yalon ko tonya nin tilingo wala la sloganti. B, ibe sile be kumo kelete ba fenkalateng, ha lua wala na lua be banko kang, fonga keteng. Omar, I want you here, you in very clear terms. Based on the evidence that is available before you. Ite ning idi fala qualified to be appointed as chief justice or not. It have any ko wale bo decide la.
Evidence from who? Okay, let me just respond to that.
Yeah, go ahead.
I work in a company where some of our lawyers are actually based in the United Kingdom. They fly to America because they did actually bars in New York. When we have cases that are very peculiar, they travel over here to do whatever their job is. Now, if it default from what I saw from his CV that he actually, went to the bar in the United Kingdom, I do not know if Idifal is doing any legal activity in the United Kingdom. So therefore, I cannot say he's qualified or not qualified. And I have never said that Idifal is qualified for the position. While you are living in the United States. So I do not know what actually means practicing law in the United Kingdom or a Commonwealth country. But can you authoritatively tell me that you know that Idifal is not practicing law in a common law country? You don't know. You can't know, and I cannot authoritatively. You cannot force me. You cannot force me to say that.
Speak for yourself. You cannot speak for me. You don't know. Speak for yourself. Where would you know? Because you can
So Omar, Omar. So what Essa is saying? Okay, go ahead.
I understand. And everything I had wrote about this. Idifal is a competent lawyer, from what I read.
Okay.
Idifal,
from what you read from the internet.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. And you believe
that? Yes.
But you don't believe that.
Does that mean that
No, you don't believe ko mameng include ko coming American in Fenkola among qualified based on what is available. But he competency, and that is also based on the internet.
But where did I say that actually he is qualified? Can you qualify that? Where did I say that?
Qualified based on what you read on the internet. But internet
no.
He's competent.
No. Either you concluded that he's not qualified. I will not conclude on that, because one thing is there is a portion that I must leave room for, which is I saw that he actually did a bar in the United Kingdom. Now, is he practicing law in the United Kingdom? What is practice of the law in the United Kingdom? Now,
we are talking about Gambia. We're talking about Gambia, not United Kingdom. Forget about
Gambia. When you say Commonwealth.
No. Gambia and the UK is they are common law countries. We all agree.
Okay, Essa,
Okay?
what?
But Gambia,
okay, but now, listen. Madi made a point here. America is common law, but America is not part of Commonwealth. Ndola constitution if I know the specificities in our constitution as per the appointment of the Chief Justice. What exactly did it say about common?
Okay, now constitutional code, a common law country based on the appointment of the Chief Justice and criteria set. A common law country.
And what is the definition of a common law? What is the definition of a common law country?
Okay, listen to me. I will give you the academic or the intellectual definition of a common law.
No. Constitutional definition. You can't tell me your intellectual
definition. I need a constitutional definition of a common law country. Common, because you know what is a common law. But I can give you the constitutional definition of a common law country is a country that is part of the Commonwealth, number one. Two, listen, I'm the water, Omar. One designated by the National Assembly as a common law country. And America has criteria for all being met.
Now that you gave us the definition of common law, Commonwealth and common law without understanding that this common law in
I need to go. Omar le Conde ko jang kabinka ko Chief Justice man qualified. Akonye based on what you read on the internet. But Omar kilo wala muta nang ko nga ka fanya ko the Chief Justice is incompetent. Is competent based on what he read on the internet.
That is not contradictory. That is not contradictory.
Please.
Okay, so
now, what I'm telling you, you read from the internet, I read from the internet. You believe what you read from the internet, I believe what I read from the internet. Now, there is a point here, Essa, that I ask you still did not answer. Now, if it is said that this person went to the bar in the United Kingdom, what is practice of law to you? How clear is it to you that he's not doing anything related to practice of law in the United Kingdom?
You are speaking with ambiguity here. Now listen, it can mean for
what is ambiguous about
that? Listen,
that is very simple.
Based on what is available, the information available na mensoto idifal la kuoto ko akaranda janne ay do ko ke janne na melu soto idifal man criteria ni mit akandale be for example not on ko okay, let's say Gambia constitutional qualification to contest for presidency or to serve as president, you must study law, for example. I'm just giving an example, and practice in a common law country or whatever, or just any country, right? Now, ninnato karola nga wole criteria nyinti. Essa Njie will done okay, nda qualified tele because nga law study general and all that. Now, the information available be Essa George la wala kafoko, he qualified tele wale man qualified. The information that is available, kodi kaitando ko Essa qualified tele wala man qualified. Now we cannot say ko hani de ndafono la bari Essa ka kalanda Myanmar. Now we have to confirm what is law in Myanmar. It will call law defined nyadile, law program or defined nyadile. We don't go into those technicalities. What we are looking for is the information
this is
available.
A constitutional matter.
But for Omar, listen, go constitutional clear
so
ambiguous.
We have to move on to another
Omar, listen to me.
Yeah.
Constitutional meant for if justice nyanda appoint lele ni now information available before us. Idi fali do ko kejana do ko kejana akaranta jana. Based on that, we are saying ko among qualification of me. You can have more ko honey because I come the fatma jamba appointment, right? Kabila na ko ya appoint as vice president. You violated the constitution because I call it a fenko. Baro munefa ko nyimka buluta nyinela. But kabila the evidence itandala ko nyina nga buluta nyinela. Then they are abondi. So based on what is available in Katama wala luwa katama evidence lela. So idifal evidence men nata before us. Wale muko idifal man qualified. The idifal nafta ko prove wrong. Let him produce somebody ka ko haninde qualified tele. Wala Gambia government mialan ko tolle appointing authority. It only idifal appoint. Ya for ko hani. And you don't need to go to court for that, Omar. That's what I'm saying.
Where does idifal have to prove that? Where to you on Facebook? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
No,
Because
Omar, please don't tell me Facebook, Omar,
that is
don't
no,
tell me
look, this is very simple, Essa. This is simple. This is simple. And the Mamba Association,
we have to move on.
The association is doing the right thing for taking the matter to court. And the court is where this man has to come and prove everything. But to publicly come out and go motokotola mu fending tenda nga amro mu Gambian o jala yole ta Gambian to yalla wo dem so I have never argued this matter on legal terms. So what I where do you disagree with me? Because
okay, saying
batun kanjane ya leti no nyela kuma jamala je kafero be batun kanjane fenye
ya jela
we already okay. I'll be call Laban telephone. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Exactly. It's better. Esa ita New York, wala, you know, Omar na Colorado, you know. Thank you so much. Of course, Ousainou Bobb Financial Jane, and of course, Lamin Mane Kongafanya, but you politician already, unless they want to talk about this issue, but Netol Natimin, about yung coalition kachal mialong ko wale be caring science and tending, and of course CMC alialo ne ye talib letter as their standard biara wale mila flag biara, but of course kudo lekera yung coalition kachal dulal to akamtale ko minkera esa falti anata withdraw nyindula Ousainou Bobb lem spokesperson ti APP Sobea and alone cool mialong ko wale be keru ninje Ousainou muna na withdraw tan yung coalition kacharo.
Thank you, Buba. Sorry for not putting my video on. It's almost
no, you're good.
2 a.m. in the UK, so it's been a very long
it's
day.
Okay. I'm sorry. It's short notice no the dealer, so not fault them. It's my fault.
Right. So I think as a party, nga negotiate also. My mandate is not very strong because I won.
No. You see any language for no, it's fine.
So we have negotiators that were attending the CMC coalition talks, and as a party, we also have a task force that they were reporting to, and the decisions as to what led to APP Subaya walking away revolves around a long-standing issues that the party was trying to put across for consideration during the negotiation process. And as political strategists advise the party that it might be beneficial for the coalition if they have a running mate. That would take away a lot of pressure from the supposed flag bearer. We understand that joining a coalition talks, the dynamics are you might either win or someone else might lead you. But since you are all working towards a collective objective, it is also good that you, when you're putting your strategies together in advance, then you consider all possible avenue as to what pitfalls might be in front of a would-be leader, either be it Essa, be it Talib, or be it any other contender within that coalition framework. And based on the information that's been received on the ground, it was advised that it will actually be good in certain section or segment of our society that if we have a running mate as a contender, it would take away a lot of pressure to the would-be flag there and probably give the coalition a better chance at winning. And on top of that, there were some governance issues that were never resolved. The party had long, extensive conversations at the executive level for 2 days in order to reach to this conclusion. What we did advise our negotiators and those that are on the ground was to give it one final push and put some of these issues on the floor and see there will be a resolution. And since there was no resolution, the party decided to withdraw today. That is how matter stands.
Okay, so you decided to withdraw, and UMC is saying that Essa wanted to be the vice president. Is this true?
No, not actually. What we proposed was proposed to the entire coalition body. And since the whole conversation it's now in the public domain, the UMC team, including Talib himself, Aziz, and Ibrahim Adiba did pay a visit to ESA last week, in which proposals were made for ESA to concede to their leadership. And ESA had a different takes on that. And ESA did also propose to Talib that I think he should concede to my leadership. And these are my reasons. And in that termination of the meeting, it was proposed that both parties would present reasons why they think they are a much more preferable candidate, or they have a better shot at winning. That never did materialize. And I was talked to have a conversation with Aziz yesterday, and the conversation I had with him was it did depart from the initial understanding of what was happening. And I did advise that in order to avoid this becoming a whole embarrassment, I think the line of communication should be very clear as to what either of these parties want. And that has been the nature of the CMC coalition, that parties were having a conversation within the coalition, but they were also having a conversation outside of the coalition. And from my recollection and what I know, it was only Talib that did approach the party in those lines to have a negotiation or to have a side conversation as to how they are going to go about this flag bearership. And that was never resolved. And Esa was adamant that, look, the whole idea of having a running mate, it's actually to remove certain perception if in case I am the leader or Talib is the leader. For instance, let's say if Talib becomes the coalition leader, then we objectively think he will be fighting on two fronts. One would be fighting the incumbent, and secondly, he has a very bitter divorce with UDP. How do you resolve this thing? So having a running mate would actually remove some of those pressures from the campaign strategic team. And these were the reasons that was presented to us as an executive by the party leadership. And we think it was actually a very genuine reason. But since it's a negotiation process, the ideal approach would be to put this reasonings or this rationale in front of the other contenders or participants and see if they will accept it or if they will not accept it. But that is one part of it, and then the other part, the other point to it, it was the voting method. It was agreed that participants would each have one vote to vote, and at the 11th hour, our party leadership has presented evidence that this system has already been decided, and there were allegations of inducements and all those things. And as a party, we have to
but
reflect.
how are you able to prove that there were inducement? I've seen a lot of your people alleging that there were inducements, but we have not seen any proofs that shows that there were inducement. How are you going to prove that?
Well, but if you know how politics works in Gambia, it's you are building a coalition, but you are also trying to build a
But what did
consensus.
you see that makes you believe there were inducements?
Well, that's what I am trying to explain. That it might
Okay.
be
Okay.
difficult to come and say that I am certain, or I can speak with authority that Unite has given, let's say, Party X $1 million or a vehicle to vote for them. But again, the party can also rely on intel based on the conversation they have with other contender that we've already pledged our allegiance to this particular party because we have agreed that they have met certain conditions that we have demanded from them. And if you are taking that from a principal source, then I would think or rations would dictate that you would accept, you will agree with their position and make a decision based on that.
Okay. So all right. I will get back to you. I think I have a couple of questions to ask you, but I'll get back to you. Omar,
yeah. So just remember, it's 2 a.m. and I'm completely exhausted.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just gonna keep you a little bit, Janibida. I'm sorry for that. Omar. Yeah. So you've listened to Bobb, abe min fokan wole nyindi ko at no point italy inale negotiate pour ka vice president place wala comme alla party oba fenk ka nyamen. And then about this inducement issue, y'all accuse le Cabral be UDP, y'all accuse jinnale, but this coalition primaries from milkira y'all accuse jinnale. So ite munelo nying kachato y'all party ke dameng the standard biarati ite munelonje.
Or mbe United to Lambeja for one thing, standing up to a process and never quitting the process and believing in the process. Me alonko. Kabiri saratolo landi, ibele sontama, ibeya follow all the way to the letter. So nindoli ajako within that saratoli tol sontaminna towards the last minute ko kartebe na file and tolta ganyela or alimbadan tolungam fong bondije ngate accuse kudol la many alonko we cannot substantiate it political lebe onyama. But under the APP, so they are accused of anything. But wherever you talk about inducement, what does it mean? Because in telling from Wulita, more cotton Wulita, that SI, Kafa, may convince the Puritation Dolanaton Kayala. That is trying to convince somebody. Somebody else could actually say, oh, in Atala Puruka Kankachanoya Purun Tolanga Song Ilapenkola. But where at Andiloko, at some point somebody need to, Kajako Nafutanyo Mangakachan Nukula Alongo Mbele Dentawala. Oman Getanati. So ni working wala wulite tata other stakeholder liya ka fo ko mura ali sabare no ale ka fon tol kanno. So ni ngi ite ajo ko wali mole min convince no pour ya carte fay to le bitumo wala siade de tata jeki jeki de ko running mate. What is running mate? What becomes the position of a running mate in an election?
Yeah, the vice president.
Exactly. So why we try to deceive each other? Alanga tonya fon no pour na bango tanya to wai. Nintente modo ta kala je wala ya tinna adama be mela nyimban ko nyaton kayala. We should accept to be
no, but
to
Omar,
lead
maybe min fokan amanke esa fangole ko laftanga ke running mate ba fokan momo ya finish second pour ke running mate not negotiating.
But when they were setting up the conditions and the agreements of the coalition, why was that not there? If it was not there, why not leave during that point? Because if that was a burning contention for you, why wait until the day before election or the day of the election? Ninga yata ko sarato lalbe min san ko min sarato lembe tamala walla mon yati nation dala wotu mo biye na ko ni ronin min masoron tamanda son wala nyin dolbe inducement wala ko accuse ku dolla anga to nya fon no drong nde I have a lot of respect for every political party in the Gambia but ninta da fonga jo ko to nya de jang e mantante tala anun te ngalon ko malla fi modo e nya ton kaya mba fola lo ko nte manta son na nyina wala nte bondi je paranta folo ko karenyol be molle induce kan in many times ya political ni man win kan you always look for excuse to actually throw out. Yeah, but you win jannan ko it's not fair akeda sunyaro leke meta wol moy na political tole hana dara biye political kende ni madi tema janna e win ning aya dara ko ngajo ko to nya lafta excuse ni mba no ya lon ke balo ngai moja mala lon wala atinna so nyinna atinna e win you will always look for something to say nyinna atinna. Bara saratol nin tol be kajal sonta janko mbella moy la nyola len dia mo dabe mutala andum be sonta nga sa nin dia mo dara fote manga fa anda man tanda dun na je kato ko nte ko e kudo la fanu nje mim la fanu nje. When you agree on something you cannot wait until the 11th hour ye boje yana fa ko nyin dalil latinna ni te amira ko those people were inducing other people and it be political and convince people to for you. Because political the cookie nyanta wala nalako. Everybody will go all out and try to convince people to vote for them in the primaries or even in the election. So long they are not going against the sanctities that which you agreed on. Now, can somebody authoritatively tell me with evidence ko United in Nekemi Alonko is against it all the quarter mina Saratolomina? So whatever that happened, I wish they would have been together to understand that Nengambia Sulata, people's individual, aspirations definitely need to be secondary, while our collective interest is actually what we should see. I still believe that the opposition should come together, for the collective good of this country. Nyimbanko be alhali jaw baleto. Abe mansakunda kurumbala bulu. Mansakunda tilimbale ba many alonko. They are ready, willing, and able to do anything and everything to remain in power. So any little division within the opposition, akante, akam malule, akan sila fanambankola, nyarotala. So ndamanda mo jalaila. But one thing I would tell you is, nim process obekeri mbeda korta menna. Hana atara, it is not in your favor towards the latter part. On principle, stay through the course because it's on tala kabira alba damutala. So that is my belief. At this point, you know, I would say
but
so
Bob,
united.
mo jamal fanambe wala nyinin kakan saying atol fintita nyin kol konale without evidence ko inducement lekera process nyim manda silola. So can you give us like nyim fenko do jan something mi alon ko is tangible mi alon ko mosa ala moynole iko tonya process nyim manta ku kodol detail ye mol jole pour talibe ke ye talib tambendi.
Thank you, Buba. I do not. I've listened to Omar, and I respect his opinions, but I do not think there was an agreement in coalition building concession. I think the discussions will always terminate where there is an agreement and parties have put a signature to those agreements. My understanding of the CMC is the nature and the framework presented in this entire discussion. It's built on concession and moving to the next ladder. And since they have not concluded or exhausted all the processes in terms of governance and how the coalition framework would work, and neither of the parties have put a signature to an agreement to say that we have agreed, and this is the document that we have agreed. Now we are heading into a flag bearer selection. I don't think to conclude that there was an agreement and there shouldn't be any amendment would be a justifiable reason to put forward.
So CMC, there was no agreement that CMC put in place. There was no agreement.
I am not aware of, and my party hasn't signed any agreement. That has not been reported to the party that we have signed an agreement, that we have agreed on this governance template, and this is what we've agreed as the coalition agreement.
So you people wanted to repeat the 2016 coalition.
Well, like I said, I am not on the ground. I am the spokesperson of the party, and I can only relate information that is being shared with me. But I would assume, because I haven't seen any verifiable information anywhere across social media or any of the publications from the coalition, that parties have put signatures to an agreed principle position that this is what we have agreed as a coalition, and this is what the governance template is going to look like. And until this morning, inputs and suggestions were welcome. And that was why APP Surveyor were given the opportunity to put forward the amendments that they requested. Now, let's say if there was an agreed template that this matter has now been concluded and it has now been agreed, then APP Surveyor would not have any recourse to come to the floor and says, look, we need to consider these 3 points because the matter has been concluded. So the fact that it was open for discussion means that the matter has not been concluded. And in terms of the inducement, I think I've answered that question in my earlier presentation, that this is reliable information that we have received and we've acted on it on good faith.
Reliable information without evidence, Bob. You think people are going to believe that?
Look, Buba, if need be Kukilinda and Omar, okay? So let's say Madi, it's our judge. But you are speaking to me and you are speaking to Omar. Now, if you come to me and tell me that Nko ntenga decision of talele because ning Omar ganyo moile, call belarin tabulol kang. So it's obviously, you know, I think that's a principal position that one is agreed to. You know,
but could it be also Omar be min fokam comme isitano yalon delegate so lega taraje isitano delegate le ko oken laftale le carte of that is campaign, you know, and
but
that is
where
very,
the
very
delegates there, I think the way the voting was done, it's the participants which are the principal, like the flag bearer aspirants and those that were representing their parties. These were the people that have the voting right. Like every party would have a vote, or every movement would have a vote.
do you agree that it is normal to go to those people and campaign for them to support you as a
well, you cannot take
candidate?
politics out of politicking. So this is a political, convergence or convergence.
Don't you think that is what happened in this case? Like the United people were going there and and campaigning. Don't you think that's what happened? And you people think they gave them money because you are the spokesperson. You are not able to tell us any scenario. Like you are not able to explain any scenario why United gave someone money. You are not able to explain that.
That would be accusatory, Buba. And all of them they want to have a of more common. So that would be accusatory, because I cannot come here and say Talib has given Omar $1 million.
But your
Or
party
Talib
said
has
that
given
was inducement. That's what your party said.
well, where the inducement comes in, more if we have reliable information from would-be participant, then this is the kind of agreement that they have put forward. So we would have to take their word for it. And if Unite is very concerned about that, they can push this matter further by trying to, seek redress from the court. So APP Surveyor would have to bring out the evidence that they have, that look, this particular person, we have them on record, they have said so and so and so, or we have a meeting with this particular person, they have said so and so and so.
Okay.
I think it's a political matter, so it doesn't have to be empirical.
I will let before I go to Madi.
Ndol kam mira baro bondo lankon ka APP so be asamba code card ko mo nga inducement
No, but again, like Omar Adibe, you want to clarify that you have not done that. So I think if it's matters to you to that extent, so you might want to do that.
We are clear. Ndolo nga lon nako moro. Nhane football long ni aja ko ino ibe no la le no for ya for referee man fair. Wala kudo for ja. Adol la mole kuma jamal. But ko nga fo nyamen drong. Ntol we will not. I would personally not get into saying APP so be keretene because I believe that they all went through a process and respectably you've participated and of course aliala input kejel and all of that. Ngara ko kelen dem man la fi sonna damine ko maybe come agreement is not always like what you actually kaboko bring a pen let us sign, but kabring nyindi amol bebe caring for bubantol be mamo e janko this particular coalition already had agreed on the methodology of how to go about things for newspaper fanialet mini man song ala nun ko mo UDP ni mo ko don fay mambo je kabir wotumo bara min continue da folungo min ne ko somo la election de wala nyinde ko wala d'accord da wala le wakilta no wala but hane atara up to the election day if window is still open for you to add one or two things, so it allow one or two things ni tell after add la o manke no je ni bota je kana kan wala mo la fa kon tell after nyina la fa je man son ko keje, because one thing I know in negotiation is give and take. Nin tada for last minute ngaje ko to nyaade mo don tell after nyaadon ka min to so do wodo mbar nga condition do laje mi yalon ko ni do itol fananta sono wala wodo fa sa capitalize wala ngabo je political lo nyintide political. So at some point you have to, even those people it all coming for maybe unite wala dukula wala yakula kela it all fananta da jela pour ka diamole pour ya carte fa it all la candidate way. But ya long mo be min fole ko amoro karanyol lal sabaja ite jeki ko maybe ko do la dila but ita mang any evidence but another nda ko buba ko do la dinna. Is that enough to actually say that tonya buba ko do la dia? And I don't think that is. But do you also want to tell me that you are questioning the credibility of those political parties and their delegates? If that is the truth, then I don't want to believe in those people, because more minka sanno so koning anna mansakundaran keso bedi la yamare ite tandola banko be wafla. You know mutonyati. So not even right.
But well, Omar, I think the differing opinions in Gambia would disagree with your position, because again, like, it's all politics, and it's I said, you said. And it's up to the voters what they decide to take on or what they decide to agree with. But what is being understood and the opinion in the Gambia right now, it's actually what is being stated online. So I don't think there is anything else to discuss in this matter. It's a matter of what you believe and what I believe in.
What is the opinion that you say?
No, Ibinale Manjinele, Ibinale will come. Ibinale.
Almost. Kurongoti Jangalen 2 hours ago.
Oh my God.
Okay. Omar, I'm happy to have this conversation anytime, Buba. Honestly, like, my eyes are dealing at this particular moment. I've been up
anyway, good luck, APP Surveyor.
But Bob, Janni Bita, you people saying Albemunekela, are you going to continue at the Apex Fenko Coalition Kachal Albetara Walto, right?
Yes.
Okay. And this Apex Coalition talks Namera. I think are they going with the party led? Because I don't
they are going with the party led. Yes.
Party led, but
this this is what happened. It was.
Let me finish this question. Ning Coalition Kachado, you people supported a candidate led. Now, Apex Albijele, they supported a party led, but still now you want to continue there?
Well, our position have always been to support a candidate led. Yeah. And with the Apex one, I have more authoritative information because I'm the lead negotiator for APP Surveyor, and I've been participating in the Apex talks for almost 10 months now. So the matter of candidate-led and a party-led was addressed previously. And this matter has come back again, and it was reopened for negotiation. And probably we are going to terminate on that tomorrow.
To say that they are going to accept even a candidate-led?
No. So it
They are
was
going
already...
ahead. They are going ahead with a party-led, right?
Right. It was already
And
determined
TMC,
at the initial
you
stage.
supported a candidate-led. That's UDP withdrew because they wanted a party-led.
Well,
NPP
UDP
withdrew
never
because they
withdrew
wanted a
from the...
party-led.
UDP never withdrew from the Apex coalition talks, and
No,
this
I
process...
never said I said the CMC coalition talks. They withdrew
Well,
because they believe in a party led. But why are you joining another coalition talks that say the leader, it will be a party led when your party believe in in a candidate led?
The Apex process never said it was going to be a party led. And
No,
that is what I
you
am
just
trying
said
to
that not
explain
long
to you.
ago.
No,
You just said
no.
that.
Maybe you didn't hear me right. What I said was, at the initial conversation, when we started negotiating at Apex, the issue of a candidate-led or a party-led was addressed. It was put to a vote through the negotiating committee, and UDP lost the votes. UDP never walked away from the Apex coalition process, and they are still participating.
No, I know that very well.
Exactly. After the split between UDP and Unite decided to join the Apex coalition as an entity. And 2 weeks ago, ASIS did make a proposal, okay, that we need to revisit 3 thematic areas. 1, the flag bearer selection. 2, the National Assembly distribution, what we have agreed previously. And 3, the methods of selecting a flag bearer. Okay. This was agreed.
So now they have changed their position from... Okay, go ahead.
No, so last Sunday we had a meeting. Now, because of the terms of reference in place, once we've agreed to a particular thing, it would require unanimity to change that position. So there were no unanimity in agreeing to the nature in which the National Assembly would be distributed across the coalition parties. Okay, and since there was no unanimity, and we have 2 additions, i.e. Unite coming in after their breakup with UDP, and Tabah Rewmi coming in after that portion of the negotiation was already elapsed. So we decided that
I don't understand the breakup with UDP. Unite was never part of UDP. Unite is a party of its own. With all respect,
no, when
honestly.
the Apex process started, Omar. No, listen.
No,
Omar, when think that's right.
No, I think he meant when the process started earlier.
No, I meant what I said. When the Apex process started, Talib was identified by UDP as one of their key principles, because you will nominate 3 candidates to be your council members, and you will nominate 2 candidates to be your negotiators. Talib was part of the council members for UDP.
Yeah, I think what time of from
but that time there was no Unite. So it said Talib. But if you say Unite, Unite is a political
so there
party.
Was no Unite.
That is there was no Talib is not Unite.
That is right.
Right, exactly. So there was no Unite.
Okay.
And then when Unite became Unite, if that makes you happy, they decided to join the Apex coalition as an entity.
Okay.
But since they were not part of the initial negotiation, when we decided on the nature or the leadership of the coalition, either candidate-led or party-led, we decided to give them the opportunity to reopen that. And in order to reopen that, we have to address key issues within the terms of reference. And APP Surveyor submitted a request to Apex facilitators last week that we need to amend the terms of reference. Since that we cannot agree in unanimity, we think it is not fair that we have 2 additional entities that really are concerned about some of these issues that we have already discussed and agreed on. Then let us open this process again so that we can have a concession either by voting or through unanimity. So this Sunday, that was meant to be addressed. We are going to look at the nature of the flag bearer, nature of the coalition, either candidate-led or party-led. Out of the 6 entities there, it was only UDP that advocated for party-led. Everyone else advocated for candidate-led. And in terms of the National Assembly, APP Sobeya has argued before that UDP should be allowed to maintain the seats that they currently occupy. Unite has a different position in that. Tabareumi has a different position in that. GFA is in agreement with APP Sobeya's submission that UDP should be allowed to maintain their seats currently through the next allocation. So that is also open for renegotiation on Sunday. And the method of the flag bearer selection.
Okay, thank you so much, Bob. Thank you. Janimina Uncle Madia. Lamin. No, you can just mute your mic. You know, maybe it is sinola. La mic go mute, bro.
Because it's been a very long day.
A long day, I know, right? No problem, because you've tried. Inform. I'm make bring it inform. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining. I really appreciate you joining this platform. Abaraka back and content back. Lamin Maneka United Democratic Party le support, and then of course abe Gambia le saint en kurango mantra kering wala na alvala dulaje ka be dibira ala battery of course lafta jilale, and which is normal. Lamin atol science intending na nde kibaro min soro ko de a parties mili alon ko wolle bal endos kan pour coalition ola, and then ngal listo dole je mi alon ko it was draft. Atol be tembe da nyadile right now coalition kachal to mi alon ko lebe kering, because already atol findira nyum coalition kacha dotole ando ngajere party dol bal endos kan atol be tembe jwal.
Well, abaraka bake buba kai meta button di rola bari alhamdulillah.
I'm very sorry for that. Yeah.
Well, Nissan sono maybe few minutes la that nganda bulan la kacha kono demanding.
Of course, go ahead. Yeah.
Because niaje ndele jero to there is fundamental paranoia. Nyin candidate led la coalition okon. Wole monti dung ibe silarim puru ikana the recurrence of Adama Barrow in Minke, because Adama Barrow la method of kana government it wala fula wale olem candidate leti bari koteke ibe silaring puru ikana moto mo mi alon ka bina kukel Adama Barrow in Minke, so o paranoia bi ikono bakel. This is why Bob Fela Tata Bari, I agree with Umar on that. This is why module sol arrangta kaje komi mbe osilo le usla and UDP la kachal nata tandile komi until we disagree with it all from a serial mean use. 3 out of the serial community, but Tombonduro Kele Nyaming, and in Nisita Fana Mara Lobe Kele Nyadil. Your society all going to see the Mara Lobe Kele Nyamin, and I believe it was through APP Shobea, from reliable source, that it only proposed that we even have a governing council. Mia Lonko at one point will oversee the presidency, in execution of Al Assembly. Me along control ngajo komi war in itself is very, very unconstitutional, and because there is already a separation of powers and checks and balances mandated by these 3 arms of government. So nin natanga body dolo ni mi along kanyenta mansakunda sembo talala sokora mansafo nala dubal, what is violation of the constitution before we get into power. Then natanga jo koteke the same formula fele ya kamana, and they are trying to be very technical with the word or the statement running mate. Running mate no in isolation, because running mate in some countries, most especially Kenya, it's already a constitutional clause that when you select a running mate as the president, akamunda need a win as the president, any running mate be to le win tenure automatically. Do abinakelela vice president, but neither Essa Safiro GB. At one point, the statement was voting for the candidate, coalition-led candidate, doesn't necessarily mean that we are voting for that individual only. It's like we are voting for more than that individual. That means that running mate, but woman the constitution, the paranoia in the candidate they come back and wole if label. This is why in Tolko, alinkana tani ni silola, because ngajele ni silo bi ay gambe no be sila nyami, most especially in Tolmini alonko bi as politicians me nyaton kendiro keka. Yes, sila wo sila use. The tendencies of having a character like Barrow is very high because of na banko maral kitabo be nyami. Ni wo maral kitabo nyimman falling. Akamunta ni man sasin still now appointment ol batele bulokon. If you think outside wokono, akamunda you are still opening for constitutional unconstitutionalism. So this is why Ntolmanda Bulaje. But B, I will want to disagree with this thing of running mate. At a create la no be at a constitutional kono, but it a follow no is a technical term because in other countries it's a constitutional clause. So somebody is trying to use a constitutional clause somewhere. Mi alonko is rigid. Ka kamana nyanka use mole kwa ka mole filindal. It more sonna wala. But coming to UDP, ntol scientific alhamdulillah. Na boko no je mo jamal na tajele komi UDP silo mi use. So silo fananjibenu. We are not saying that Karasilo Mine is the best because all these two methods have their shortcomings. But so long we have a lived experience in the individual-led or candidate-led in 2016, why not we change and see another method? Mia Longo Fanang, Mbajibele in 2026. And we have 2031, which is very close, Simael Nyala. New Fanama work, we can move on and forge beyond. But Gambian mentality is like, Ntol Kajele komi nyimbanku, Ntol nyenta nyimbanku mezolale, Kaje komi ntola lifetime doron, tela jero. But I think that we can think this country beyond tola lifetime, beyond this 2026 election. This is why it's fundamental that we try a new method. New of an failed, we still have generations to come. We will keep trying. We will keep trying until we have the best president, we have the best reforms Nimbankunka. But we'll not take a problem that people are fixated on in 2026 Dama or 2031 Mimbekela. But Ninga Mira beyond that, I think we will come to a very mature conclusion that Alnga Sila do Fanan Jibe, New Fanama work, then we see what next in 2031. But Barola Tarabalia Jang, Wolen told Bay to la Cairo, and Wolen new opposition party Bay to la Cairo. Barika Kukilmo repeat, Ayadele be I mean Sabu Molma. So until people mean Binala Kankang, I think there are people meaning along they want a new taste of method as far as these elections are concerned. What opportunity that we are having now. They are not saying we are using the best method, but they say they want to also test a new method. So that Sama, Nimpati Mintambeta, you will have a broad-based policy where all these parties will inject ideas and programs, and then we see which ideas are feasible in short term, which ideas are feasible in long term. Because Neaj Bentolfola candidate ako 1 term, 5 years. So that means long-term policies mantra ideal kono scientific. So we can only solve short-term policies. And at a for the komi also keno nyadi let ako reforms in the constitution. That means to introduce a new constitution and civil service reform. These are things Mini Alongo is very particular on, and these are things that are very doable because there are already attempts purukajo komi nyule. We are halfway into it. Because Niajibe constitution already there is a draft constitution Mia Longo is languishing somewhere. Kataka kamana ne dorong, kakulosol murunanje ngananga tambin. Civil service reform. These things doesn't have to take a whole lot of time purunga nyulke. Ntolbole fokang that we can do all these things in 5 years. And these are policies and programs Mia Longo if the country is able to put in place. B. Mbe muruna koma domone hani nyulbota nyosabaka maybe the constitutionality of this Chief Justice Mina. From political point of view, we need first-class brains to develop the third world country that we are in. And we cannot have these first-class brains, nimana reforms, nimana constitution or konojibe, so that people mini along kwebe dokola bantala bankolka, not necessarily lafla walla, but because of the economic realities mimbe bankoka atini, manste no banko kanya, if indira bi itate be nyinindiro lo bankolka ya karangol keye, anum banko sula to londol. How do we invite these people to come and work here? All these things are doable by reforms. But if we are rigid as a country like this, Mampareka Falindurul, we are using constitution 30 years ago. Akamunta, these first world brains will mini along be outside there. It's going to be very difficult for us to have them to develop a third world country like the Gambia. So reforms, Ntola party science thing, Sokora, the Right Honorable Ousainou Enem Dabo, a la presidential aspiration be lorim back reforms can. And these parties mil kanana, their ideas, it's welcome. So, Walemun ambition design thing, and we are happy that people want a new change of direction as far as coalition building is concerned. Mialunkombe party-led le usla. So, hopefully before the end of next week, we are going to have a serious memorandum of understanding signing, so that party dol mini alongo fane ya hamo sotoka joining kan isinayo joining kan abanko ni sama.
Lamin, so niya fale ni apex la kachala milbe kiring saying akamtale ko falendirol lafta kela jele puru modol bi jele mi alon ko will ba support kan for candidate late, but atol still now UDP be nyin kachal kono le hani saying but saying UDP still believe in a party led, so is there any possibility ko UDP si fintino nyin kachal to le natra candidate late, you know, wale proceed at this apex fanang?
Well, Buba, ntol scientist mimbe mutarim bulol kono, wale party led, and already yajele komi, we have already developed a program mi along ko scientist mojamal sondal ibina kankan. So nyingami for apex la kuoto jana, ne atara bi nyulle tombonda kake di aspirant, di flag bearer aspirant for the coalition independent led. Mamere they will go back to that apex.
Okay.
Therefore, until we are not ready to go back for another round table discussion on something me along ko mansongal. Until from the get go, banko be o kalamtal that we said lefla party led. So near there is any other coalition me along is talking about mekarela file either coalition led or party led. Just let him or the party know that komi UDP ko party led. Ni monso wala we are already outside. And we are outside komi amanke nunga kumasi nunyami. Saying we've already had parties mini along ko joint tankang and already nikatale purka memorandum of understanding signed. So the apex led maybe the party will come and make an official statement about that. But from my point of view, and I know from the point of view of the party, many members of the party is that UDP mantra participate can do to me alonko is not party led. So near apex ole be bulokon. We are coming outside and we are going with those party mini alonko. They endorse us for a party led coalition.
Is it true that party Odolial endorsed already, so signing ceremony da mal tutaje puru alewoke? Is that true?
Yes, 100%. That is fact. Party Jamal Yemol endorsed signed the Mia Party Lulusi and movement fula and njikere jani ni lok mo be banda be siala woltine mini alon ko jigita bi ko mi UDP la party led ay tol betar la wala kom anu ñul jama dol bi je fo manke bunkono kumoti because of ngajele newspaper ya bonni dol fon ya safi la official handle sol tol that it ni UDP la bital so ñimu kulet mi alon ko tonyalem so pour party ya nan ka medial invite ani nga ceremony nyinke woda malto je bari it's a fact that United Democratic Party Jamal soto mini alon ko UKB party led le endorse la and some movements mil datan kamfana.
So janning this signing for la flale kanyim party will disclose mole.
Well, Shantandi, you have ADD. Maybe Inter don't remember that, no, because of Podol. You have ADD, you have GPAP, you have GANU.
GANU, yeah.
You have PPP.
So is it true that PPP agreed to purkal endorse sign? I mean the Madike Fala side.
Yes. Madike was already, even before the Farakas Besotla with Golden Era, there was already a framework me along with Bole GB as far as any UDP la dokunya is concerned. So Scientendi is on the framework on Yinale and they endorse it. Kunung ya tandile komi, they are going to be part of a coalition UDP better la minyaton kandika. So kuni yo official communication kele, it will fanambe mol konole. Milia lonko ilatangan. So Golden Era, wolfana movement already Milia lonko ifana nibe doko can sign already. And is it CCC coalition for?
Yeah, inyanda nyum party London because nyilba endos ka
it's a
movement. Okay. What about Gambia for all, GFA? Or you don't remember for all bijelo for el mantra because I posted GFA, something they've attacked me seriously. Yang attack seriously. Dr. Gagigo-Journalist is my brother. I posted so because nga draft dole jemi alonko one of my sources in UDP sent it to me and then nga populist, but I think GFA were but it's good that you've confirmed some of the other parties Mili alonko signing ceremony better rajal. But you are not sure of GFA, right?
No, GFA as of now, GFA mang official communication and there is no concrete agreement that means GFA be do kokonol.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. I will get back to you, Lamin. Uncle Madi, nyim coalition kachalite aje nyadile. Compared to 2016 and in scienting tala jamal be caring. May acknowledge kela follow of course Touba Marrie la data scientist olem ate ba fola nyele ko esa falla nyim finto abe mung advantage or disadvantage le dila of course opposition all towards the 2026 presidential election. Uncle Madi, go ahead.
Thank you. So baba nying coalition ko bitaka nyama manke nene majikuti. party-led, candidate-led, no be experience, not 2016 alone. You go back to 11, you go back to 2006, and so on. UDP had led coalitions here. 2011, you had United Front. Manoga Hamad Ba was the candidate, and I think that was more or less like candidate-led. So amanke nene maji kuti, but then new wolom kuti say bajala ko ninga haklo to kuto beteke. There are lessons to learn. Malonko, the way I see it, it appears the political parties are not interested in that. And I foresee better promos on 2027 if any of the parties or candidates win. Yeah, 2016 scenario or 2017 scenario, because Buba Ninkacha Bebe caring. First and foremost, Lankanamo Masotonje, coming the coalition building for CMC Lombang or OPEX or the political parties themselves. He agreed on Moneto. What is the agenda? Yeah, I mean, woman Lankanama. All right. So Nico party led, okay, say UDP is now party led. What is the agenda? Is it UDP's agenda or is it the agenda of all the parties? Now, one can say the signing ceremony maybe the MOU will be follow J, but follow. But on what basis will they will support UDP? Is it just to say is a party will just go behind you as a party, or are they going behind you because of a program? But also they got candidate led. I suppose CMC with Talib now elected is candidate led. Again, what is the agenda? Yeah. So there's still not so this issue of running mate, I think it's an important point. Yeah, I don't know how and or when. Well, I had Ousainou say the thing came probably yesterday or any more suggestions. But I don't know why CMC would call for suggestions on the eve of the election. That doesn't really make sense. But when you look at it in the broad context, namely coalition of formula, what are the issues mentioned and concerned? It should be about, first and foremost, the agenda. What is the coalition based upon? Agenda objective. But also it's about power sharing, because near all the elements sort of coming together, how do we share power? And coming after in character 2016 talk. Now, in 2016 MOU GB, they talked about power sharing, not in very clear terms, but because they talked about the coalition executive committee to determine the appointment of cabinet members. And even when cabinet members coming from a cabinet member from a particular party is removed, should be replaced by that same political party's representative. So in some way, they power sharing for gender. And so if we have to learn lessons, maybe it is to say we go beyond that, to say, look, we go party-led. Okay. But can we have a running mate from another party? And should it be the second party, more party identified like Yadile? All right. Then also cabinet, also the parties may be where the cabinet should come from. Can we share the cabinet? All right. Or allocate to each party a cabinet seat or a number of seats. Okay. May I consider for non-members, probably some technocrats we want to bring in. So that you avoid the situation Barrow and Menke in 2016. Because in the constitution, even during the constitution 1997, immediately the president, vice president appoints and ministers. Now, Ninkol left avoid Melketa 2016, 2017. Then let us go prepared. So that Ngalonko, this party is the president, the vice president is from this party. And each of these parties, Minister of Finance, Minister of Justice, Minister of Agriculture, so that medunkan wokono so abe kala proper coalition government memina were restructured. Yeah, bari wo be manke. So ni Essa Njie ni running mate ko nati. You know, membe kena koma, you hear the stories coming for, and yeah, Ousainou Njie very relevant questions. Inducement. I mean, you know, you should come and give evidence. Yeah. You know, because lobbying coming Omar Fanaya for Nyabing, lobbying kasotande.
Yeah.
And lobbying is not inducement. Nico political parties and you know, people will go and lobby one another. I think the visit maker for Talib Nyol Tata Essa it's a form of lobbying, you know, but it haven't that as an inducement. Yeah. So, kujama be a long. So, whether Essa ko after vice president ya labang or the idea of running midnighty, wotonya I tell them no ala. But objectively learning from lessons, I think the idea of running mate is a good idea.
So, Uncle Madi, nying fenko nying kachalto ite nyilbe kor, because some people ba fakana, in fact the process nyilbe milta kam purka nying coalition kachalke already group saba nyongol sorotale ADD millet CMC ngamera wale change the CMC, I don't know, Apex Bijele ngajele the former vice president Farmara Tambajam Fana is calling for a sort of coalition, you know, nga team Gambia Fanangel. Do you think like the coalition kachalnya oppositional ba samba kan silo minna and in group all milba organize kan do you think is the right way or for a problem or jijel?
Exactly. I mean, okay. I think the opposition in general isn't serious. Because right now CMC coalition is ready. Talib elect me. Party that call for they are ready. So if I'm UDP or I'm in Talib camp, why would I go to Apex again or to Team Gambia or to what is the point? Really? So but again, maybe the coalition code topotoka. I mean, Apex is aware of CMC. CMC is aware of Apex. ADD, they are aware of it. Tambaja is aware of all of these things will be happening. Team Gambia, they are aware of all of these things will be happening. One would have thought, well, we the groups or individuals or, you know, platforms trying to create a coalition. And so that one coalition body is sort of making body sort of and coordinate together.
Yeah.
I mean, that was one of the serious thing to do. So that, you know, we could have even avoided you know, 2 coalitions. Already we have 2 coalitions. And we may have, you know, another 1 or 2 or 3 independent candidates. We can avoid that so that the entire opposition are under one umbrella. Yeah. So I would have thought that that would be what they should do. But, you know, to still go as they are going, you know, they are co-decided already, you know, finally decide, and still others new platforms will finally be still talking about coalition building. Yeah. I mean, you know, it is funny. And, you know, finally, Buba, to say, having said all the things, let me also say I totally oppose party-led and candidate-led.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, learning from lessons. All right. Buba, what we need, agenda-led for system change, coalition member lowering based on a particular agenda. First and foremost, this is the agenda. And that agenda, member Tamandela, a political party or a politician as a candidate. Because any party or candidate winner in this election may blur exactly the 2017 scenario. And that is any party or candidate may winner, the immediate objective would be self-consolidation. You know, if I'm Tutu, if I'm Babman. And immediately all the other parties and politicians will be in that cabinet, in that coalition, would also be, if an be found, Londila Kunkele Gajiko, ila space create. And naturally, Mbajala even no pushing. And the president, because the constitution empowerment, the president is too much, as he, and the melman can be no mel left batandla, or I remember a mel batand, as he won DJ Kubaro Yakanyabe. So that in the end, at a 1 year found Mbajala coalition of Farambe crumble, Nganabula back to the same situation of the Menkona. So therefore, men right now, and anybody me alonko Gambia be alhalo menkoro manke coming baro drona nyaton kaya konot. Ya jamme drona nyaton kaya konota wot. Nyin data le bring independent, bring jawara. Nyin banko mantari lorin kunke. Nyin banko la fondament mankati. Wo ni lafta wolonna ta 1965 constitutional ta karang ya faham. Ta 1970 constitutional karang ya faham. Ta 1997 constitutional karang ya faham. Because constitutional ka what of fundament. The banko mantari loring kunke as a republic. And what nandi dictatorship, corruption, and intilimbalianing, luanta ya. Na masakunda workete tamarambulo to bring independence.
Yeah.
Ko menge bulale ta kala o ta kala nyama o ya sabu fuariani matoro ni ditoro ni kolea sifa si wesa mira ni komato ya kita Gambia bilari nyama kita wonya kuma sabu because na state abe lori nyame constitutional and nyame ate katinola. And we're listening to Nolonde because we tariko we experience so every Gambian, particularly every political party and every politician, follow ko nyimbanko de nyimfandama mbenyintela nga fandama kutola. So wala dandi deko agenda led me alonko abel dandi menna drong wolom ka fondament kuto lande but ka londi mansula political party o nyato kaya mansula politician o nyato kaya sulata an independent technocratic non-partisan person melon ko angala ko kiskisi ay lanno sotom ay jiko sotom da cikat yaji popre ngana nga sansawo sanse sa mira no nga beda da ko nte jikala dron ko nyin ada cikatare abe lahido ate lahido abe lahido timmandila ate nyala yaje but ze hila ko buka haramadu yaje baro ya tinya nyame ndesa tinya no nyale ndesa tinya no nyale so numo ben kunkono sina sila mbe mun sansan de dala kaje ko nyi ku kendu de o nyi musun jikitanye menna nyim fana narra akabe yele mala kulle bi jensa kale no nyame so ngoda da and one of those things movement wolom na transitional period that are 3 years akana tambi wala 2 years 103 sanji fula o sanji saba akana tambi wala because constitutional na lual na bundal mbe yele matla nyaati le kaje ko banko tari fondaments bamandinka yeah so that new will sita for president abe metala cabinet politician de na cabinet abanyum technocracy le dat le dum cabinet and mo be kula karambulola mo be kula siradala mo be kula loptan lola yaje mo sakunda be tama kanyama ay tama wonya watari benyin system change keka sanji saba so political parties be menkela na council of advisors nyol soto political leaders nyol each party leader will lead council as advisors you understand or some thing that purkaning ko sembentu yandi political parties and in politicianal near edum parliament ku killing wolom pro bills mel binala purkaning system chenke yo bidol pass mole sanji saba ninna political party be na politicianal be ko tonya e nyi gambe le kadu isonta ko nyi gambe de kabri independent be mantoro le kono nyi gambe da nyanda falinda de ndeng ma mira ko sanji saba in the life of political party la balu kono sanji saba new bandije o manke fet yo haramadum fam politician on mel bebe isani saba nyobo ni la baloko o manke fet besi munya nole besi tankun nole nga ning agenda sifa support so that nga banko falling niwo banta o sanyi sabo nyin constitution kudona ta nga third republic dunde wo president anala cabinet ijelte contest la fereng yeboche na political party butum menji kita ko itele sembo warta mobedi itele fereta mobedi itele nyiyata mobedi itele ketaten ten ali tali contest election ali abin at buba wo fanan wole party be nafa because baroji be 2017 mel jigita barola kon baramun na barolet ayebe bayade atara fa zum party lo so abawol nafa opposition to madol be coalition member to madol be fana baro fana manawol be nafa because ayebe le bay yaati atara party lo de sitam
akala ba wala nyama akala ba wala nyama
so bajalo ko ning system men kamen foteng wala mu party fana la interest yaati wala mu alla interest bari nalso da ko candidate led warante party led wo party abole na fala de wo candidate abole na fala bari atel tomal be melba koma atel na fala ni ko tada fatinyata atel be bonola ya so ndinga tiki nyinam silati inyanta mentala bari ani ko ya warta ani ko ya warta ni biso warta Gambia jam
I wish gail yela nyilla moy. This is a very very good plan. Ngamira gail nyanta nyin sanne bulle but I'm so it is sonna nyinkela momo ni la agenda la ngamira is more of jumale be lead la
munekete sonna nyinkela yaji munekete sonna nyinkela
I think it's about it all damma because ntenga minje nyaton ka ya nyo sabole be keri it seems like
but that exposes ko on the atel kam men for Gambia to what atel to
it's not about Gambia, it's about themselves.
Kolonka Gambia ta ale ka nyaton koti ale alfam bambandi ale alla party bambandi bari koka Gambia bondi o man ka tella hamoti kato nyimbanko buba sanji ta woro silam nyimbanko bi ni fundira Gambia kono bi ika jakale de ni samandingu menketa we know what they call really Gambia be al halomendo Gambia be tembo mendo
Eman lamin jeddi bokono.
Yo, abala fa because the development be kata nyame bring independent. I mean, near institutional melda iko nyinyo institutional mansoton coming gamtel in the 80s 90s ina ya betinya.
Yeah.
Mbesirim fo bi kurang. Bi ndel nyata electricity sovereignty sotonale because masingul melbe kotu, masingul melbe brikam. Ni wal tamate nyama. They can provide minimum 90 megawatts. Now ko Gambia Sulata 106 or 112 lombang megawatts at peak period. Near 90 sort of. Why sovereignty dealer because it means 90% of it electricity or it ko bondi fong le bulu. Ela banko. Most of them. Kurang geo adonya. And so is it banko be electrified? Fine.
Yeah.
But then it had a billion le jo bantalan kol wole kurang natina banku te balu no la wonya
no
banku te balu no la wonya so si titar ko ha kurang janjan sa do be kono bari at the end of the day ibe billion le jokan Senegal ma ye billion le joka power so hani sa ite la kurang ko manjara amanjara so meni ma toro le kono at kurang be nyame jiwe bo nyale ni data seno be nyale ajibe ko contract okay with Indonesia ka manona tina banko do ko be onyale employment ita da Spain ko sakula migration ite mutale ko ita minani ya Saudi Arabia so aminda ko hani sa nyim banko abetama kan nyame amanke silati because na lual be nyame na masakunda dokulal ila bundal ibukera dogo ka nyama fo pare kubu kabuje ya ye masakundara nafulo bankora nafulo ya tale yake fansum chont itella nafa ajibe president bo jola $500,000 for a month ite bo lan la for juma le ko nyimu kudu wanyante kala ibe minister mutodi la minister la ibadi la director ibadi la permanent secretary ibadi la national assembly ibadi la jojo la ibadi la magistrate la ibadi la secretary la I mean mo bade masako ibe mutodi mun dalila ka mun dalila ka yaji yena ala wan solji be ni na budget o yele ko do bumba be akata melbe do ko la masakunda salary lom allowance lom travel lom furniture lom fuel lom vehicle lom osifa yo bar hani no dila okay bar do ko fanan kenya da menkela ita do ko ka yeah so women be tan drong buba wolom ko nyim banko amantar lori bunke ante dala no nyato nte kairo ni nte kun soton nola nte banko de kenola krenti kambe on soton nola nyim banko kan natari masakunda be sabatiring tapalayani bala firewning luantaya na masakunda wolo mila adoti bala firew luantaya dokuntaya udron ikaje minister ikaje president ikaje minister ikallo banko don ikabulela banko don ikabulela o ikakumal fo farti kumol ya jammeno to jande kafoko na television na university
na Gambia
barolo de kafo na lopitanol na siloli ka bolu wolle ka yalo way me tandi dron ko ni republic amanda lorin kunke because republic correct president nyamama ikalo kafo mole ko banko la fon kafo yetel tamoti bari wala ka fo de la jang minister kallo kafo ko ye keno nga keno mutab keno ngatan kadi muti sale ko because minister lom ngadi national assembly member ko because mu national assembly ngata nga landila mun dalila kan nga salary ditela ikafo ngata nga landila ani katita roka ko ite o laari tan do sotonale mbawulen ndunda sayndila ikasi deputy minister speaker ikasi ka banko dewol jibe ka fako ñin manke ñin sile ñin mo ñin sileti be bodale be ñin place be bodila jel buba bala freeman tammi wala niajo kita banko do republic a republic mantar loren kunki bar nabe loren kunke masakunda do kula nyama ma ikaw kuma sifar fu banko dewol bari ñina bi darintel la banko so that menyon da men mol bondila amunna political party ni na politician on that yo même dum political party ni politician men bo melboto yeni bankolo même manke bi nu damen ko no yalo nim fudata bi temboto bi menke da 2016 ni taka repeat mol ka for party led candidate led dama del so bet
thank you Gulbadi mbira na data scientist o yale Touba Marrie and I was sometimes kala flale pour kela moy kedde because these are ideas me along ko ngamira na politician nyande nyil talale and they implement it, but I feel like is more of about self and the party jumala be nyaton ka kala kake walti but Touba so saying ning coalition follow ning ye talib tombone as their standard biara, but Essa fal findita coalition on ning konole. And honestly, a lot of people have predicted this, and then nimanyine for when you predict lenunko maybe I don't know, I'm not sure, but nyinsi coalition or affect or oppositional affect no nyadi le ite fi as a data scientist ite mi alonko ye data sort of Essa fal contested in fact the 2021 presidential election afela fintita nyindula sa entale be tambirele CMC be talib le tambindela, but ala finto si oppositional affect no nyadi data wise ite fi okay even mute rin on mute I think sorry mute. It's fine. Go ahead.
Yes. So Buba abarke bake kontan da Cameroon and Kanajan Nalia Kacha. Lamin is in the background. I think her name Malmo. So
yeah,
yes, Uncle Madi Bejamba Kontona Malakataka dialogue all the time.
Yeah.
A lot of great ideas. Unfortunately, Malon for
oppositional bukasone.
No, member Metembo Mento Sound okay. you know, ngalo ntambira ku jamala these mama jam for back mala they will go back to the table to look at coming for the agenda led coalition sort of.
Yeah.
But then it's important. People like them mulki la back and
Yeah.
that. So even politicians like yes, Essa, sorry, the coalition kwenye the outcome nga predict no woman ki beat is a woman ni la kaja I think since January.
Yeah.
Sometime in January, in season with Kerfatu, with Jara, I think question in Canada file. When the possibility of Mama Kande, Isafal, Talib Ahmed Bensouda, it came in the Gambia like this September, monkey separately. Gambia participate la survey.
Survey, yeah.
Yes, and I don't know what to call if with a coalition of that, their likelihood of winning. So with the sample size, you meant sort of Jewomul Natila Jabiro di Mojamalko Yamre winner. For me, that is more of a theory because ninga nyul more la character jube and political nyimbida kan nyamang at that time. Obviously, the time that survey results came out, Walter Talib was within the UDP. I criticize that method because I believe within the UDP, ita Talib bondila noje, ye Ousainou bondije ba Ousainou, ye wol mume put ibe nyen kakang, and it's the same UDP party at that time. So Italy picked put in among the coalition options with Essa and Mama Kande, who are not UDP. Then you're more clean than UDP, but within the same survey, there were questions about Ousainou Bobb. So I didn't see the balance. Well, I know method criticized. And when it comes to this, at the end, Margie, I don't see a work like Nyamong. Obviously, Mama left Mama Tata to work with NPP. Essa JB Somanda. I actually foresaw that a long time ago. Dalilo ngamen for Wole Bembul. Nintali Bora. The United Democratic Party, but again, Mira was because the UDP primaries far Atali, but he applied for it. But then the outcome became Ousainou Bobb. So in Amana Tarje, then that gave birth to United Nadanyam. Obviously, he became the leader. So nibada UDP kono to go put ibe president. So it had any coalition kono. I am so you would want to lead that coalition. You understand? Okay, Mama Kande, what he was banking on was that, yes, I competed in 2016. Obviously, 3 candidates, Sabalebiji. So you can say he became last or he became third because Sabalebiji, I understand. And then he competed again in 2021. About 105,902 hours, 105,000 woman number Jamal. Okay, we talk about the APRC factor, but at the end of the day, Mama Kande atela to be ballot box over, so you can refer atele. So no another coalition with people who are new in the game like Talib and all the stakeholders and movement Minul Benunji. So I have to lead. So if you look at all this consideration, of course, Essa Fanang will bank on look at Essa, a lawyer of his standing, obviously another politics, but he also contested in 2021 and he has numbers. So it will be like Nintol Runter before, and now we have new people. So Nikweni will be they have to lead. That's what I was seeing. And then it came out this way. And then, so we were on point that this would not have happened. So right now in that coalition, Malong Jumaliteji, I know Talib has already been declared. He is the flag bearer for the coalition. So Man Jumaliteji, your main question of how is it going to affect? There are so many possibilities affection binanyame. So to answer even the question properly would have been Nundiala Ning Ayatara Bitilola nomination Ketalafa operator, and we are sure of who are the final candidates. Then you can look at the possibility. But science and thing. Is Essa going to join another party or maybe join the gang who are endorsing UDP also, like the parties rather who are endorsing the UDP? Fabina will kill for Abelola Fayen. Yalo, that's where the affection will go because in Essa Lola Faye APP and now we APP Sobea, I'm so they will have something.
Yeah.
Talib now more, yes, Talib haven't run for presidency again, but you can always say that they will have something. But the numbers, because I don't have a reference for them. I cannot also quote the mayoral election menkere LG and quote lano. This is a presidential election. Me along ko imam participate no. Now patil menu tuta water. That is
what about the last survey?
Yeah, but surveys are very minimal size. We can look at the survey, but like come number you do at back and we are talking about a whole presidential election. Okay. So the projection was that at the time, the Ghana participate projection was Talib was like the likely candidate to succeed Ousainou Bobb. But then I don't have to go back to that likelihood, because you see now Ousainou Bobb has still not been succeeded by anyone. Abijele, so that likelihood of Talib succeeding Ousainou Bobb can never come to fruition at the moment, because Talib is in Unite. So wale ka survey la kuwal manandi. So ning kombitala to reference a survey. It's a survey size of less than 2,000, I would say, or so. It's not even up to 3,000. So we're talking about presidential election. We are 962,157. We are registered, and we're actually expecting more. But lafta kamben fonko near coalition gibe science and menul bije, because Talib ma run them follow. I understand. NUP, yeah, Lavada Talib Kang. I don't know, it's an alliance or whatever the term is. But Meltunaji Ma Wolman run. So NUP la vote last time was just 8252. The late Abdullah Jambe Wole Wolin 8,252. I Wole Sotunu nationally. So woman can number to mensi at the back. As we go in, the effect will definitely be there on the side of the opposition. So totally, how many candidates are we going to have after the nomination? I'm sure the 20 plus parties that are registered in the Gambia, ICT will be Tala, and also will be the Tala to compete for presidency or actually submit for nomination. So it's like a bafla science sign, Mol Menul Doron Kanje, NPP, UDP, Wallamu Baramal, the Menul Warada, obviously for their records, for the current, as in like they are within the LGAs and so on. So Mol Menul Bina APP so we are Malon Fibida Kafladar Fibine Faye Unite. Now that Talib is the flag bearer, then we are expecting they will have a test with the IEC for nomination. Whether they will pass the nomination or not is yet to be seen. The hopes are that they will, but no one knows what is going to come out. So Abedamin Dal, yes, votes will be shared and so on, but I think Baramal will remain as it is, like NPP, UDP, and then.
My nomination of pass or Barota pass la.
Anyways, in an amount of an incumbent nomination of field.
Enila Tilimbali be United Ma pass down in Barota pass la.
Anyways, none of incumbent nomination of field.
I know, right? So Touba I been focusing saying I think based on electoral it been focusing wale mjendiko it unite fenkenola because imanta electoral follow, and two NUP la last cartel is 8,000. So some of these parties be along ko wale Talib Kela standard biara the science and new party will let be along ko well Tonyale mtefo maybe long right now Milia Alonko will bije. I know ko APP Sobe Abialonko is a prominent party there, all Botajele. So Zafono le coming like Sembo nying Zafono ko atalatale instead of ko Alafata right with this coalition me alonko conclude.
Yes, of course. Because all the opposition parties were there, UDP, GDC, APPA, Sobea. And then, like, I saw a list of names here, whether they are correct or not. I think, like, it was stakeholder or movement, will be a past of the Gambia Sustainable and Environment Movement. Malmo, Environment Coalition, People's Right Party, Forward Gambia, National Reform Congress, Gambia Movement for Progress, Save the Gambia, National Development Association. Some of these names for Antamala will go to So all those are part of the coalition discussion. And they were going to carry some votes or so and to determine the outcome. But science Unite LBJ, NUP, well, they already endorsed Unite. But Nina Ataye called Jube, obviously, Sembo Watalata. Because UDP yet will bond it down in a coalition talk, Abetala, Iman Sembendin sort of that obviously you can talk about it in history. Because Nieto Jube, Kabana, Nina 96 for every time they participated. They've never failed to score 100,000 votes minimum. They had a 141, a 149, a 104, a 114, and most recently 238,000 years. Even when you look at their LGAs, the last LGA 2023, UDP actually beat NPP to the national total. That's they call it popular vote. They scored about 209,000, NPP by 194. So they are a massive force. Near UDP, GB, the grassroots support is there, the structures are there, and so on. And they look like Mojamal Neluka Karni Fire Nundo up to date. These are people, Mele Alonko, they hardly give up on UDP, especially when Ousainou is leading. So, neutral mantra coalition, Mama Kande, we spoke about him. Even any APRC, Noto Alliance la votes, a few thousand and will be the NPP. So NPP are the incumbents, and you know how the efficiency of incumbents. Well, whether efficiency is the right word. Actually, the power that they have within the country, the wealth that they have, the money that they can put into elections and so on. So, Ninim Party Borajem, Female Sembo Soto, than the upcoming ones, obviously, coalition Nimbe Wickler. But the election is a big game. Election is a big game, and no one really knows. Banko can call menul beje. Malo will be bankeldo. Those are public knowledge. We don't really have to so you have a few things here. You have a government, the incumbent. Menulialonko being ajel kol bitaka nyame luala karola, justice side. Untem security side for went to concern back security side, how things are happening in that country. But then we have a government. So you have a choice. I want the status quo to continue, or am I going to give someone else a chance? Then we'll call a lot of maybe the recent coalition better, the UDP better, and any other forces that will come along. So, but Sembo will distribute, but now it will come down to what the voters will decide. And then projections are always there. But I'm so kajafong with back and in nomination no time with them being along and then we can go on to see how things will unfold.
Malmo akam tele ko according to Jinkade, I mean the right now Allah Sembo Talatale, and the possibility of you winning the presidential election, then UDP is the biggest opposition in Borajele. Essa Falfela Boraje, Mama Kande Boraje. Yamara a chance to win.
Moro. The whole point is not even about, Atolo versus whatever, Yes, I believe, United is a credible party that should be voted into power, in my view, and all of that. But I mean, because for me, the conversation is not about who becomes the flag bearer, who wins. It's about what are the processes and procedures that we put in place to make sure now, through what vessel, I might believe in this other political party here and there, but collectively, it's my view that mobile and nala nyokan kajo komoro. Intel after minna, buba after minna, ni moko del after minna, ninga adara control being an imbanko la kanu, and konim banko bel halo min danita falling old. Comadi afanyaming, what am being and nala nyokan, all am tonyat. But I knew a man can of an ankana nyon in Nkana Nyotapalia. Go, the data scientists are important. Who knows what APP Sobia will do? Will they go to the UDP coalition? But Nigo, it about a journey because of running mate Mansoraja. For Adam running mate Mansoraja. Or Yalong political minty. In as much as I know you have to play your cards here and there, but Kanamanolika Diamomini Hagilimalomiti. Nyindalilo ati na mantaraja. Barasa iko ibe de ko tilina dami ibe kachamin kono ibota nyindo kono la barebe dolo kono ibe min fon kono ita min nyini ja iko balanda min naja o mantara wodo. Ore da basila jumalaka. You see, the whole thing becomes that it's not that parties don't want to come together. Wala nang ko jamfa mambete ya because jamfa ka julu jambala dung. Ninjam fa keda ko economy along min keda 2016 wali ati nan was saying this whole coalition of a thing is not that we people don't know ko alanga kare nyola boleta mi bara mol man la nyola kado adama min kenna so andung constitution of min bentolo bul han fo bi woku kilongolong hana atara bin tol min be jam fon sa lano nyola nyaonya. But even if we say somebody should lead this country mbesikisa ka do moni so ko rata kala ko adama yan kenyame wala na jam fa mambete ya bankoka. Near Banko Jamfadrong, it puts in doubts in the minds of the people for a century or more. So for me, everything is that people need to look beyond the actions of this incompetent government. All the betrayals and everything they had done, neglecting all the reform agendas to busy themselves on self-perpetuation. Well, even on their agendas, in Tolni Madi Yumo Kotangol Sira Jere, we look at their agendas, critique it. Be walla Kandol Nenja, even do Kola Yamasa Kundai. Even Nene Ben Kajafile, Kumo Sifa be Folam. But that tells you about the average Gambian, me alonko, and in Palaso Tema Kajara Kuabela. So for me, it's not about, okay, Karinol Sembo Talada or Karinol Sembo La Fada. Inter Sembo Talada, Intenindola Talada. But a Jana Fanayamero Sembo Water Dam in Dola Fanan Talada Odo. Ekolanda faraso jani ka long min para kasita bala moro abuka la fajet And election is numbers, like the data would tell you. Any single reduction, actually, have an impact on the results.
Okay.
And any addition would have an impact on the results. So that is very evident and very clear because it's simple arithmetic. Bara butung ning aya dara ko okay nyindol lote fon nga ke kafunding olti. Way jumala nafa. Enda rasoro la kadu ita ko ite munyala ndende tam munyala ite. So wala nyinde ko mbefo, mi alonga e banko be jam fa we kontineje. Mono manke mbela torote. Banko be nyanda nyinne jala. Ngajo ko our individual aspirations is not what matters at this stage. And that is why people from the civil society and many a banko kanu. Wala ba fole ko morali sabari nunyoe.
Saya alta UDP to le party badi ko aleta le jonje al dabo tambitro sai. Saya atol be bangole fenke kan dabo ito le la mol siara. Alta joini kan?
That's not a decision for me.
No, as United, even United.
If United takes that decision today, I would fully support it. I don't have any problem with. One thing about me is I don't have complex about anybody. But okay,
you don't have any problem with United?
No, I don't. Not UDP. Look, I believe that UDP is a party of conviction. Politics of convenience. And I don't want to define anybody as a politician of convenience. Kabiri UDP ajoko nyinila fanyinsa told the usual to go into this coalition discussion. They did not agree with it. They quit. But you agreed with it until the last minute. I have something new in the day of the election to add to it. Oh, it's politics of convenience. So the one thing I respect UDP for. Ne UDP balanta mine kata ndila lo kontrolo man so nyina. Anu hana manu nyanda bara la wala nyama. That is conviction, and then that is principle. Nibe la file on principle. Nibe fale on principle. But it all lata mine to ko muta. Andu ini mo buka du nyinyo tapale ya ko kono. That is why UDP gets my respect. No, that is why they got my respect. Even though I will not agree with one thing or another, because there needs a change of leadership for the UDP. But that is not for me to determine. Yeah. That is just my ordinary opinion. But in terms of UDP, Katama Nyaming, in terms of conviction, I believe that is a party of conviction and not convenience. Koha, nganyo tapalea, nganyo nene, all mandra woto. Mimbe bulu wala be bulu mo rebe sonna wala ye balangala. Anu ni balanda ala fanang, inila balango eta. But ham mbi otapale yalla, I'm trying to dribble them. That does not work for them. Or ngamba for last minute, nga fombe kudo for UDP people okay. Okay. So that is why, for me, I respect them. Another, if United agrees to get on with you, why should I have a problem with it? No, but one thing I do also know that from reflective thinking, UDP fane kulle ke jamii along ko niaje Adama, an mulata Adama la nyunku kono jang UDP fane, has a responsibility in it. But again, I can believe Lamin today. Ningo ko ni Lamin dia mudankala no ko tonya da kuma kendo love. But ni sembo di Lamin la be sembo kala nyaming. I cannot say that. Yeah. So UDP gave everything to Barrow. But Barrow to anda ko ngama UDP mo la bay man sakunda. And wala fana wulta no ka Barrow is our Barrow. So even though all those things happen, jamfantungo doronati. Look at what this Jomai guy is doing in Senegal.
Senegal, yeah.
Would you blame Sonko for that?
No.
Exactly. So wala nango UDP for the most part is a party of conviction. Ilata minne ko wala kandu ibuka monya ko na GBR. If they will walk away, they will get up and walk away broad daylight. Ite bat la fodi boy do ya foko yalo ne o mampada tombo ngamin tombo na fenkera drong the one that is basically soft nga fo budon delta. It doesn't work like that. Okay. But if any and come Madi afonu nyaming. Imagine you have a coalition here and you have another coalition there. You are in this talk, you are in that talk. What are these people doing? For you and I, we sit back and say, okay, now Talib is flag bearer for this one. And Talib, and United is still on the other talk. For what? Now, UDP, APP Sobea was in this one and in the other one. For what? Can all these people not align and have just one coalition talk? Why should we have multiple processes going on at the same time? When we said we are forming a unified body to challenge an incompetent government, a corrupt government, an inept government. So it's as if we are not seeing the greater problem of this country. And then we are all busy on our individual aspirations of leading this country, probably leading it worse than the person who is leading it now. So wale atin na banko mo nyanta jela loko moro. They have no problems with it. Nta problem momenti nimbe kambe na kambe kula mi alango so machine mo kana fo jango har dundun dandande. But na constitution no more support. So everything should now be built on trust. And on the basis of that trust is when we, it is what we are going to use to bring about the meaningful changes and reforms. Because anything that we even agree on outside, if it is unconstitutional, the president that will come on that 1997 constitution. Na manke mo tilin no de min dia ta bola kala nanda kuno laje.
Yeah, that is
Because
good.
people who
I
do
agree
not
with that.
believe in imalla tonyala imalla tilingol egamin fo wala nyende go is the constitution versus morality. An immoral person can never be a constitutional person.
Thank you. Lamin, so ye tubala mwele. It seems like Nyinjanja o Malfebo. Lamin korila mwele o mamfa. It seems like Nyinjanja o Malfebo.
Well, Lamin, a few things for in addition to Malmo coming from Malmo for Lamin, we never lost it.
Okay, you can go ahead, Janin Lamin.
No, yeah, a series of coalition menul budget, they are still there. I'm just wondering because the main goal is the same, right? You'll have to unseat the current government or the current regime. I don't know why do we have 1, 2, or 3 coalition building processes for what? For example, Unite got the node in this other coalition. What if that other coalition don't lose the whole?
It lose the job. Yeah, it will be very funny.
No,
right?
I feel like I don't know, like all these
let's
coalitions.
Let's say Essa Fall winter or coalition doro United winter jindoro so male be kranyame.
But a coalition flag behind that. You understand? The coalition building processes for me from the beginning should have all come together and be under one umbrella. Then they have a coalition building process clean because the end goal remains the same. That way, more men quit and there'll be no further discussion. If coalition don't lose, then you will lead. So it becomes a little bit confusing. But anyways, I will not have much to say on that.
Thank you, Lamin. Did I mean the sign thing? Lamin, I meant to Gambia network, but not right. Did I mean for
backstage.
Backstage, okay, no problem. So, what do you think? Do you think you still have a chance despite Nintalalbe Milbekeri as the biggest opposition in Gambia?
Yeah, I believe we have a chance because being told ni milbe nyoka wole mu political parties. And political parties nimbe jibele to register say for manke komi inita mole over 10,000 people to register. So if you are to hold those things constant, akamunda if you have 4 political parties or 5 milbekang already and the movements, womu kuleti mia lonko if we do a rigorous campaign and then let's say regional utilization of base finanke because I always mention that UDP na la base le mia lonko every election akakuma jel. But there are certain regions fananim bases milia lonko definitely mboka kusoto no jape over the past elections. So party dol natan ka milia lonko bi bentole support ka wol dol boto base fallet. So if we can leverage ila support wo base ninto, it's like ningo woni UDP la nyoka be warla bakel. But near the West Coast factor fanan jibe ya jibe ndol nga local representatives jamale to West Coast kon from Yankuba to National Assembly members to councillors. And nyumol buka keno vote without people voting and entrusting them with power. So akamunda ninata West Coast jibe mo jamale United Democratic Party leadership and trust power award. So ninga all leverage no, and then you also look at the West Coast, as far as electorates are concerned, near supplementary large, you going nothing less than 400,000 votes. So natale local representatives across country ite sembo betu ba wallet. If you are able to leverage that, also more many alonko about the other end of the country for many alonko their political parties today joining you. Ni wolfani la dulan nunkundi wote taele kanje, you also look for votes there. The chances of winning are very high. Because near President Ojiba about a regional to me alonko ala vote near vote GBJ, you cannot compare it to even LRR. So if the president can win you large margin there, if you utilize your local representation in LRR, for you to equalize the margin in URR is very high. Now you imagine by the time you enter into West Coast, then you are able to have something me along with President Fonsela back. But also with all these parties, political party let's say Nimbang Kunkang, Mole Katere Koma. among kuma kensangoti. If you should have at least 7 to 8 political parties, Buba, it is my conviction that we are going to win. Because 2016, Jumalem major actors in the coalition. It is the UDP, the PDOIS, and Hamad Bas NRP. These are the major parties in that. But now you're talking about similar major parties in the UDP party-led coalition. Let's say you have maybe ADD, well, you cannot say per se science and base milito. But these are new registered parties, Milialonko, Mole Kamana, Milialonko, Lati, Kampuri registration. So, Akamunta base be bulokona as far as registration data is concerned. So, Ninga nil leverage, chances of winning. And if 3-horse race, I am an advocate of 3-horse race. Ning the United Movement setano Louis Fongway. And we go with the statement of 2021 election, Molka komi protest vote like that. Molmin Malafi Baro Dabola Wole Karrefa Baro. Then there is an alternative. Mia Lonko will be Talib choose la and Talib led coalition. So New Fananketa, chances of UDP Fanang Aikuma is very high because of UDP the local base Benyami. Coming to buy normal soya Nyami. UDP keep increasing from 100,000 to now 238,000. So if we can have a third force Mia Lonko, regional Minbuka Karrefa in Tole, as a local person in Katami Alonka Akatanyum constituency Kalom Patila Kolbe Nyami. Ngajela United Bay inroads kekan dollar to mini alonko UDP over the last election so libuka kumaje back. But I see the way they are accepting Unite and Wolka Refa president only near 2021 election GB. So new world na Refa Unite or the Unite coalition na. Akamunta chances of president will lose war numbers like not the UDP is very high. So my problem is if we can consolidate the local representatives we have in West Coast, put your numbers dinner and also across LRR in Bulalto, chances of winning are still very, very, very high as far as the 2021 election data is concerned.
All right, thank you so much, Lamin. Thank you so much, Lamin. Abaraka bake mbe program da nawle fe mbe Madi bulalal drong ay Sara Madi. Ibe sarlamuna. Thank you so much. Atol be ali enjoy nyame nyim program. Madi be sarlamuna. If you want to add anything, me along ko me kala, you can go ahead.
Well, I think Lamin 1.4 makes sense or is worth thinking. The analogy 2021 or protest votes.
Yeah.
That made probably Barrow win. But also coming 2017 or 16, Mama Kande taking votes from Jame, for example, and also therefore enabling Barrow to win. So a third force, a 3-horse race, if we have that, it can create that effect. People who may not want to vote for a UDP-led coalition, but the Barrow supporters, at least they don't want to vote for Barrow as well. They can go and vote for Talib or vice versa. Instead of Talib, they can go and vote for Ousainou, which may give chance to either of them at least to get one more vote above Barrow. Because Buba, the thing I want to say is nobody should vote for Barrow. And because we should not allow any Gambian to be in power for more than 10 years. Nimula Hidolti Melonko ya Jamea in 1994.
Yeah.
And in fact, in the 1996 draft, Melonko wala anniversary fund is August 8th. 30-year anniversary of the 1997 Constitution. The referendum was 8 August 1996.
Okay.
All throughout, Jammeh had said nobody should be president for more than 10 years. It was in the draft, but then, of course, he removed it. We fast forward 22 years later, Barrow, in his manifesto, in the MOU, it was anchored on ending self-perpetuating rule. 2017, up to the time of the CRC established, Barrow has been singing nobody should be president for more than 10 years. And that was what is in the 2020 draft. Malokama support and our allies in the parliament, the minority, they betrayed the nation. So if we get to this point that Barrow now has 10 years in office, all government should see that coming is a national imperative that everyone votes against him. because Nico ha mantel luato, the constitution does not have term limits. Let us use our votes as term limits, because Buba a very crucial point later. And Ning Barrow allowed to go beyond 10 years. Then 10 years is point of no return. When we cross that, we are in trouble. And that is evidence, Malonko. We can look at each and every African country in the experience of having presidents staying for more than 10 years. If you are bad, you become worse. All right? If you are doing well, you begin to collapse. Yeah. So for national security, national unity, for the development, good governance of this country, it is important that we, prevent a third term for anybody in this country. And this 2026 election, for me, that verdict government should pass it, that we don't allow anybody to go beyond 2 terms. And I would have wished really the opposition all over again.
Yeah.
That instead of approach mentor, I would have wished they took another approach. But at the same, since they've done that, finally is to say, if we finally got, our opposition candidates, maybe these 2 coalitions, I don't know. It is important that the opposition begin to stop fighting each other.
Very important.
And counter-accusation and trying to demonize and ridicule each other. In fact, I think the opposition should campaign for each other. I would have loved Dabo and everyone to say, look, if you don't vote for me, vote for Talib. Please don't vote for Barrow. I would have loved Talib to say anywhere in his campaign, vote for me. If you don't vote for me, vote for Dabo, but don't vote for Barrow. Because we have to end this culture of self-perpetuating rule. Now, experience le amamol saf. Jaware 30 years kijane kuretale abondi.
Yeah.
Jame 22 years kijang ni ECOWAS manna tombi intelbe in a civil war. So that is enough lesson core in kana song anybody more than 10 years in office. So for me, this is what I got to say, and I hope the opposition would take time and reflect and give a cool time.
Thank you so much.
It's been a great honor to be with all of you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Cuba and the others have left, but then it was great.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Kontanda bakele Mongul Madi. Thank you so much kela watota purga kafuma nyim program oto. Kontanda bakele la kafola of course aneng Touba Marrie mialon ko data scientist olem ngatendu ka jay baki anin Lamin Mane mialon ko aka United Democratic Party le support mafra ko baraka bake kafuta nyameng nyim program ola. Thank you so much for joining. Bafala of course mol fana milialon ko wale duntano nyem program modu juna milbok of course Essa Njie mi alongo political science lecturer bafly. Thank you so much for joining. And also Omar Malmo mi alongo ateka unite let's support. Thank you so much for joining. And also Ousainou Bobb, thank you Ousainou for coming. Ala mafla albi ko ala barka bake atol milbe la moykang. I'll subscribe new YouTube channel. A lot of programs binakanne, a lot of information, a lot of news. But I'll be subscribed. Let's get to, of course, some 10,000. For 20,000. So I'll tend to subscribe new YouTube channel. Ibajele ko abe mako ila bakile do call to mi alon ko baki kan. Now after any Kankularo or any program sponsor, I'll send Commandino on 720609055 720609055. I'll get +1 kelajel of course +1 720609055. Nali in contact on WhatsApp I'll be sorela. Ngal tendu kal jay back and be mura nalen program kote on la mi alon konka nati Gagigo News Network jang. Nal badi maleb nunte buba Gagigo. Wassalam.